But I have to be quiet. I have to be quiet like a mouse. That. Okay. Oh, hello. How is you? A tight space. How are you? I am unmuted.
You're like,
Oh gosh. Let me see. Channel, stream, channel, mute. I am muted. Okay. Muted. I have to put it in a single split view. There you go. What do you mean your face is good? Okay. Everybody ready for the thing that I wanna do today? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Whiteness be gone, return my melanin. True. I think greater int is not white. That's good. That's good that greater int is not white. Thank you. We'll be watching a slop video first. As you can see today, I'm in a different setting. Okay. I'll be back to my usual setting soon enough. Welcome, welcome. Let me set up the... Wait, let me turn on the laptop. I'm going to be showing you slop, then I have to have a chat that's visible at all times. I'm gonna set it up. Browser. There you go. We're setting this up. Fairly visible. Let me see. It's here. The browser. YouTube. Boom. YouTube. This is my stream. Mute it. And then I'm gonna turn on Lucy has it. Okay, now I have to do this like this. Now I'm ready. Okay. Okay. Now I have to Hello, Shadow. Okay, let's watch this up. Is it on? It is on. Need to be our content for tonight. Wait, that's for 2 years ago. I want the one that's from. There you go. Debate panel derails into chaos.
Yeah,
Like-
rough 3 years, man.
Also, I have to be quiet. Hello, Glitch Master. I have to be a bit quiet tonight. Like a mouse. Okay.
Because these shootings and everything are going to keep happening. You guys are just going to keep acting
Yes, hello, Glitch Master.
clueless for where it's all coming from.
You guys are constantly saying things about how the president needs to get killed, Republicans in general needs to get killed. You personally have said that Republicans
I've never said that. I'm the wokest woke that there is, and I've never said that. Yes, I'm Lucy, that's right. Listen, I have to be considerate of those around me, and so you're getting an ASMR experience tonight. Hello, Incub.
should feel afraid of getting killed for going to any public events.
Conservatives get horny as to talk about the oncoming civil war and to talk about all the violence that's about to happen, that we're going to get even and blah, blah, blah.
Who are we gonna root for in this? Who are we going to root for in this one? I don't know. Conservatives get horny. Okay. Maybe we'll watch some of it. I'm not sure if we're gonna watch all of it, but we'll watch some of it. And if Dr. Jones joins us, then we're gonna play some Resident Evil 6. So, I don't know. Ask Dr. Jones to come. Especially since he was doubting that I would be streaming in the first place. I am DMing him. Oh yeah, later we'll be reading a scientific thing with Envy. So that's going to happen. We're going to have a very intellectual and theory-filled night. Apart from this is brainless rot, but apart from this, we're going to have a very intellectually charged stream. So it's gonna be good.
I think you guys are very lucky that Republicans and people on the right who actually own guns and know how to operate them are not just as incendiary as you guys, are not trending every other day on Twitter for how we need to take somebody out on the left.
To successfully kill the president?
Whoa, that would be a
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that most shootings in the US happen from crazy right-wingers, Christian nationalist, I don't know, crazies. Isn't that the demographic that does most of the shootings? I don't know. I feel like that's the case, and I always go with my feelings. I lead with my feelings on everything, as you know. I do my best.
crazy reading of that tweet.
Is it a crazy? I feel like it's...
Are you implying that I would want an 86-47 or whatever? That would just be insane.
All right, guys, welcome back to Bread.
What a strange debate. I'm gonna turn off the subtitles and we're gonna see where this goes. Especially since Mr. Bonnell and Blair White were pretty friendly not so long ago. They had several very friendly conversations, so we're just gonna have to see where this leads. We're just gonna have to see where this goes.
Versus the World, where we debate the big stories of the week. With guests from across the spectrum, we've got with us today the right-wing YouTube star Blair White and the liberal streamer Destiny, aka
That is so depressing, right-wing star Blair White.
Stephen Bonnell. Guys, thanks so much for both of you for being here.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having me.
Great, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we should start with a pretty sensitive subject, which I think we all have talked about and have been involved with directly or indirectly at some point, which is the rise of political violence. Of course, this comes a little bit has passed now since the third attempted assassination attempt against President Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Blair, I'll come to you first because you...
Oh yeah, that thing where somebody took a shotgun and just shot a few shots. Apparently he wanted to kill all the government, but that's weird. I don't...
were actually there and had kind of a harrowing experience. What was it like, briefly, and then what's your initial reaction to it all?
I was shocked and appalled and scared, and I pissed myself.
Yeah, obviously there's an extreme overall increase in not just political violence itself, but the sentiments supporting it. And
on the left, it's all the lefty crazies. The trans activists on TikTok are asking for violence, obviously.
I was at the Hilton that night, and I had just left right before the shooter came in, so I missed him by like only minutes, which is pretty scary. But I mean, I'm not going to overplay it. Obviously, I wasn't hurt, no one was killed, so that's amazing. But it is the point that we are in like the most heated climate that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm not gonna overplay it, but I'm gonna play into it just enough. I'm gonna play into it just enough, okay? Not overplay it, but they're definitely gonna play into it.
In regards to politics, and there's a lot of things contributing to that. I'm sure we'll get into it, but you know, it was scary, and it was also surreal to experience being there and then going online and seeing like
Very scary vibes. Okay, she is overplaying it, in my opinion. Already she is overplaying it.
how the rest of the world was, you know, quote unquote, experiencing it, which was like obviously a lot of people saying it was staged or downplaying it. So it's a lot to get into. That's just my short little shootings are bad.
Yeah. So, Stephen,
Okay.
your takes on political violence are sometimes clipped, sometimes
disavow.
reacted to. I'm curious, just lay it out for us. Do you condemn this assassination attempt? Are you against political violence? What's your actual take?
I mean, I think the tone is set from the top. I don't think we should live in a country where political violence is a thing that's happening, where people feel like it's necessary. But as long as Donald Trump conducts himself the way that he does, and as long as Republicans continue to give him a pass for it, I don't know how you can act surprised when the country continues in that direction. And it will continue in that direction until Donald Trump decides otherwise.
But you agree that it's immoral and wrong.
But yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's like,
Well,
I
it's
think
not good.
should
It's
Jesus Christ. What a conversation. Do you condemn political violence, Bonelli? Okay, let's reel it in. Okay, I'm ready. Hello, Big Jerry.
It's worthless. It doesn't matter if what random YouTubers and everything's saying. It doesn't matter for the hand wringing on it. It's
That's true.
like, I know you're not complicit in this, but like, I still go out and I do these events live, and you know, the chances of me getting killed at some event are infinitely greater than some coward like Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles who sits behind a desk all day and sits there and makes excuses for Trump when he refuses to just say, hey, all of us should calm the down. And it's absolutely insane to me that people will run around and try to tone police every single person on the internet while the president
White is so nervous, so ready in the lanes to jump in and push back against the heresy.
conducts himself in literally the most unhinged manner possible, but it is what
So
it is.
I agree with you that Trump is constantly saying incendiary and unhinged things, and he has engaged in like violent and irresponsible.
He is an unhinged president, so of course he's gonna say unhinged things. It's par for the course for our president. I mean, he is the world's president.
Reckless rhetoric, like when he's saying different Democrats should be executed or treasonous. But I'm not sure I really see that as an excuse for political commentators to be flippant or irresponsible with their rhetoric. Just because it's much less significant than the president himself doesn't make it insignificant, Stephen.
Yeah, that's fine, but like the political violence today is not inspired by the left-leaning commentators. It's probably inspired by the hatred for Donald Trump and how insane he markets himself and how aggressive he is towards.
I'm not the person that creates the hate, and I'm the biggest left-leaning creator out there. There is no bigger one. I am the one.
Who he perceives to be his political enemies.
But
like,
isn't there some evidence that
well,
it is inspired by left-wing sentiment? Like the manifesto cited, he liked, the guy liked all sorts of blue sky influencers. The person who shot Charlie Kirk.
What was the biggest thing? What was first of all, the Charlie Kirk guy, born and raised in Utah. I don't think him, I mean, nothing
What does that matter? There's Democrats in Utah.
Nothing is more conservative coded than having a secret trans girlfriend boyfriend. I'm sorry, like that. The idea that this guy was a
secret trans girlfriend. Lucy, why are you so quiet? Because I'm not alone in this space. I am trying not to wake people Also, Dr. Jones, where are you? Where are you, Dr. Jones? Where is the Resident Evil? We're gonna do Resident Evil, Dr. Jones? You ready? Well, we're gonna watch this first, but... Listen, you should be okay with my ASMR. You should be okay with me doing ASMR, and I feel like it's loud enough. You wanna whisper through all of Resident Evil 6? Yeah, I do. I do wanna whisper through all of Resident Evil 6. Feel me? Listen, don't you enjoy my ASMR voice?
Left-wing person because of that is insane to me. But all
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
that's a joke,
all
but
I'm
that's
saying-
not like it's not really like objectively true. I mean, it was a leftist.
wait, what is the
Where he
objective
lives
evidence for
doesn't
him?
really
What was
matter.
the objective evidence for him being a leftist?
The fact that he didn't he on the bullets write a communist message on it?
Okay, the bullet thing. This is Blair White when she presents evidence. Oh, didn't he write a quote from Helldivers or something? That must make him a leftist. Isn't Helldivers still a leftist game?
That he obviously hated Charlie Kirk, who's on the right. That alone is indicative that he's
Oh, okay, yeah. That's indicative is not evidence, by the way.
politically opposed to him. He said that he saw a change.
It's not really indicative of anything. He might have just hated Charlie Kirk's guts because of him being Charlie Kirk, not because of his political leanings. It's not evidence of anything. You don't want to wait for a day you can actually get loud? Do you want me to get loud? Is that what you're saying? You want me to get super loud with Resident Evil 6? I'm never super loud. What are you saying, Dr. Johns? I'm always quiet. I'm a very quiet and gentle soul. I never get loud. That's why you like me, because I'm a very calm and gentle streamer. Unlike all of these other streamers that just shout loud and slur everywhere.
Chance to take out his political enemy, and he did. Like, I mean, the idea that he was a conservative, I mean, I get that it's like a tough position to be a leftist commentator. I don't know exactly what label you use, Democrat commentator, leftist commentator.
Democrats are not leftists.
It's a tough position to be in, to just acknowledge that, like, it's just right-wing podcasters and right-wing politicians podcast.
How long this segment gonna take? Maybe we'll watch it like 20 minutes more. What are you ready to do some Resident Evil after this? Which I'm gonna have to get some tool to, also I'm gonna have to get things. Okay. It's a bit of a mess, but all of my streams are a mess, so it's okay. It's just business as usual.
President's getting shot at, but like to say that he was a leftist is just cope. I mean, a Republican is just cope.
I'm
Okay.
saying that if I showed you a person who was born and raised in a blue-haired, septum-piercing lesbian household in a blue-haired, septum-pierced lesbian state for 21 years, and then he goes off and he kills a conservative, and over the past 6 months he has messages about Donald Trump or whatever, there is zero world where conservatives are like,
Freudian slip, I know, right?
oh yeah, he definitely got hardcore Republicanized in the last 6 months of his life. That would just never be the case. Whether the guy's
Did you read
particular,
the indictment, Stephen? against Tyler
unfortunately,
Robinson?
yeah. Whether or not the guy was left wing or right wing, though, is besides the point. Like, political violence is not good.
Is
I
it,
agree with
though?
that. It absolutely is.
Is it though? It's definitely a crazy leftist, right? Didn't he make a TikTok video? The leftists are crazy.
Because what I'm saying is that, like, when you look at the political leaders on the left, AOC is not radicalizing shooters. Joe Biden is not radical.
Blair White is so quiet and just meek when she's not doing pre-made videos. There's none of that on the spot, spontaneous.
Shooters.
Yeah, but
Donald
this is a
Trump
thing
is
I've
posting.
noticed.
Donald Trump is posting.
If this is something I've noticed on TikTok when I browse it regularly, there's crazy leftists that just wanna kill everybody. I've noticed it, and it's a trend.
Do you think that it's bad that Donald Trump says that he wants to execute, that 6 members of Congress should be executed?
100%. And if you think you're talking to someone on the right who is someone who's going to defend Donald Trump at all costs, that's not the case. I have criticized / attacked Donald Trump on an endless amount of things, probably.
I doubt it. No, she's not. She has not attacked Donald Trump on endless amount of things. That's just silly. To be attacking TikTok trans people to do that. There's not enough time. There's too many trans people to attack Donald Trump on endless amount of things.
More so than the average Republican. So I'm not looking at it as some false binary where because the president does something that's beneath the dignity of the presidency doesn't mean that there's not a personal standard we should all hold ourselves to. And I don't think you said earlier, like, I think you meant like it's useless or something, a word you used, useless, like your condemnation of it. I don't think so.
It is.
I don't think the words of influencers or people with platforms is useless. I think the idea that we can just kind of hand wave any responsibility that people like us have is just kind of weird. I mean, at the end of the day, you have a large audience. Your words permeate into the consciousness of people all over the country and the world that listen to you.
What a leftist position. I used to hear this from leftists, that you're responsible for the audience, and there used to be edgy anti-SJWs that would say, no, I'm not responsible for my audience. I can tell them what to do. Lucy, someone making me play Resident Evil 5 with them too. Wait, who is it? Is it fake Alec Cal Parker? Who is it? Who's making you play Resident Evil 5? Who is that person?
The
And
biggest
not to make
inciting
it about
factor for
you,
this
because
last
it's
shooter,
bigger.
the manifesto thing that
What?
this guy released. What was the biggest thing that he put in that?
Say that one more time.
What was the biggest thing that this guy kept talking about over and over again in the you call it a manifesto, whatever? Like, it was like 3 paragraphs or whatever that got published by this last shooter at the
Manifesto.
convention.
Well, I guess the biggest thing is subjective, but what I saw was a lot of talking points that sound almost exactly like the things you hear every single night on CNN,
the talking
MSNBC,
points?
leftist Twitter. Huh?
What were the talking
Leftist Twitter, leftist TikTok, on the TikToks.
points? What was the biggest one?
What on earth is Trump going to do, or what words
Okay,
percent
yes,
change?
yes.
They ought to, of course, do it. Markets are making an
Oh
exchange.
God,
Use my dollars.
no.
Trump a pedophile.
Exactly.
$20 today. Now back to the debate.
Thanks.
Yeah, he called Donald Trump a pedophile.
Exactly. And who was the one?
Right.
Who were the people that obsessed over the Epstein stuff?
Republicans. There you go.
Who obsessed over it?
I mean, if we're talking
TikTok leftists.
past tense, it definitely is something that the right was onto first. But I would say at this point in the political timeline,
Hello, Philippe Auguste.
and this is a recent shooting, I would say
Today you get ASMR, Lucy, because I have to be a bit quiet.
it's almost more so a leftist
Why,
thing to be
though?
obsessed with it
Why,
because a
though?
lot of right wing because
Well,
a lot
because
of
of
right wing
Because I hate leftists. Duh. I have to say that it's more leftists now because I hate leftists.
Citizenship.
No,
a lot
it's
of right
because
wingers hide from the topic now because they don't like how Trump handled it and they feel like it backfired on them, which I agree with that. But it's clearly a bipartisan thing now.
No.
People do care about that. Yes, it is.
no, it is.
You don't
it is
think a lot of
become-
leftists
Oh
are on
boy.
social media and on television, some of them getting sued for it for calling Donald Trump a pedophile? I mean, come on.
Getting sued, yes. Donald
Come
Trump
on.
and Kash Patel and everybody in this administration loves to sue everybody that exercises speech that they don't like. I do agree with that. However, this was an issue that was universally obsessed by conservatives and by MAGA. Every single person was talking about Epstein. You have Pam Bondi.
He donated
Don't care,
to
don't
the
care.
Democratic
Pam Bondi,
Party.
don't
He
care,
was
don't
if you're
care. Doesn't
trying
matter,
to paint
doesn't
him
matter.
as a right
Not
winger,
trying to paint
that's
anybody as
so
a right winger. What I'm saying
demented.
is that there are no
I mean, to be fair, he didn't try to paint him as anything. He said that the politics were irrelevant. And Blair White said that they were absolutely irrelevant and continued to push on that whole bit.
Pictures of Merrick Garland handing out binders of the Epstein Files Part 1 to the most degenerated loser, wannabe influencer, journalist, or whatever on Twitter in the universe, okay?
What does this have to do with anything?
Because
Yeah,
Pam
I'm
Bondi,
sorry, guys. I'm going to bring it back here.
Wait, real quick. Because Pam Bondi
Okay.
gave these binders out, told people that more was coming, and then all of a sudden we get reports that Donald Trump is telling the FBI to censor everything, that he doesn't want it to come out. Then we get a law from Congress that Pam Bondi and Trump don't even adhere to, and now it's like, I wonder why.
What does this have to do with anything?
Why are the leftists so obsessed with this? Because Republicans created the entire situation, and to say
but do you deny that progressives have kind of seized on it as a pretty powerful talking point against the Trump administration?
No, I don't deny it at all. It's really annoying. I hate it. I think it's the dumbest talking point ever, and it's annoying as to see it happen. But Republicans have nobody to blame but themselves. And there's in what world can I talk to other people on the left and say, guys, I think you're obsessing over this? And they're like, what do you mean we're obsessing over it?
It's kind of amazing that you're able to somehow, no matter who it is shooting at Donald Trump, flip it into that person being either right wing or you're trying to say it was like a
I mean, Pot Meat Cavill, you did say that it was a leftist because of some writing on the bullet, so... Hot meat cattle, I suppose, situation. What a funny face.
Consequence of right-wing rhetoric, like
it's not
at
amazing
the end
at
of
all.
the day,
If you have like
at
a
the end of the
sequence
day,
of
the
events
person
and you know
who
that time moves in one
at
direction.
the end of the day, the person who rushed into the White House Correspondents' Dinner, or the Hilton rather, had donated.
I love how the person who's just obsessed over saying that it's a leftist, it has to be a leftist, that it was leftist rhetoric, leftist CNN, NBC, leftist Twitter, leftist TikToks, but no, it's the other side that obsesses over it being a right-winger, apparently.
Donated to the Democrat Party.
Of course.
That's on paper. That's just true. His manifesto was full of talking points that sound exactly
They're sewing out true.
To the T, like everything I see trending on leftist
TikTok.
Twitter, leftist TikTok.
It's always, that's their main source of politics. Blair White's main source of gathering political knowledge, TikToks.
Every single day. Like, to me, it's the easiest thing in the world to...
It is so sad to be on TikTok every single day. I feel pity.
Just be like, yes, a leftist went in.
I think I've only been on TikTok a few times in my entire life. I don't think I have watched much TikTok in the entirety of my lifetime.
The president, that's
maybe I should upload to TikTok short videos.
Bad, and it'd be the easiest thing to just move on. But we're in this situation where you want to twist and contort it into somehow being the right's fault. And at the end of the day,
but it could be a left-wing shooter. The guy was obvious. I just explained it. The guy was obviously left-wing,
but it didn't make any sense. And I know I'm understanding what you're saying.
One of the
it's just
biggest
not
motivating
true.
factors for the guy doing what he did was this obsession over the pedophile shit, which is a story that the Republicans obsessively pushed until every single person in the country was talking about it.
And that no one on the left cared about, until they realized it could be weaponized against Donald Trump. And since then, they have absolutely been the ones in the majority speaking on the issue.
I'm sorry,
okay, guys, I'm going to move us along here.
I don't think that's how it happened. I'm pretty sure the Republican Party was pretty split on the Epstein thing. Yes, I'm gonna read the name correctly. As you all should. Epstein, not some Epstein.
They weaponize it against themselves.
Sorry. Yeah. We're getting bogged down here.
If you want to keep taking it back, if you want to keep going to the square root of everything, it's it would be just as disingenuous for me to say that the Epstein thing started the operation.
The square root of everything. What the hell? That doesn't make sense. Is that a saying in American? You take everything to the square root of everything? Is that actually a thing that you say in English in America?
Against Donald Trump. And since then, they have absolutely been...
Hello, William. Nadal. Well, it's Trump's fault for being a pedophile. I mean, yeah. Is that a thing that you say in American? To take something to the square root? Sorry, my little widget just kind of fell apart and I have to piece it back together. Wait, is his name Epstein? Because I've been spelling Epstein this whole time. Yes, it's Epstein. It has the word Stein, like rock in German. It's just that people in the US pronounce it in a weird way. It's like Einstein. The same writing. God, sorry, I had to. My gadget is just falling apart. Oh, whatever. It works. So yes, it's Epstein, like Einstein. The writing is the same. Epstein, of course, against how everyone obsessed over a little group of pedos and rapists that have still gone unpunished.
the ones in the majority speaking on the issue.
I'm sorry,
Okay, guys,
but
I'm gonna
like
move us along
Trump
here
and
because we're
Bunny, they
getting
weaponized
I plead the fifth.
we're
against
getting bogged down.
themselves.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we're getting
I
bogged
mean,
down
if you
here.
want to keep taking it back, if you want to like keep going like to the square root of everything, it's like it would be just as disingenuous for me to say that the Epstein thing started the operation because of his ties with Bill Clinton and mostly Democrat politicians. But that would be disingenuous. The reality is,
Hold on. I mean, is there a saying in English to take everything to the root square? Is that an actual thing you say?
just now this happened, and you cannot try to twist and contort it to somehow being the fault of the people in the room. Not to mention, even if you just take Donald Trump out of it, I was in a room with like a ton of people there that if something happened to them, it would have been terrible, and it would not have been their fault or the right
The people in the room? Who's blaming the people in the room?
TM at large, their
It's gonna
fault.
be a
Like,
rough 3 years, man. Because these shootings and everything are gonna keep happening. You guys are just gonna keep acting clueless for where it's all coming from and why it's happening.
Well,
and then
okay.
Here we go. I guess.
So,
yeah.
Stephen, I want to ask you about what you posted on.
are we
Hang on,
clueless,
no,
or are
guys.
you in denial that your words have consequences? And
My
when I
words
say
have
you,
consequences.
I mean
9 out
you
of 10 of the
partly,
largest
and other
protests.
people.
9 out of 10 of the largest protests in U.S. history have happened under this president. It's like, oh, I wonder why. It's like 20 shutdowns now into this. I don't know why it's done. I don't know what's going on. It must be the liberals. Like, yeah. But anybody have to think about yourselves,
So,
of course.
Stephen, I'm going to ask you about something you posted on X after the shooting happened. Riley Gaines tweeted out, "Stop trying to kill our president," with periods in between each time. You quote tweeted it and said, "I have never agreed with this statement more in my entire life." That tweet now has 1.6 million views that you posted there. What did you mean by that? Like, are
People
you
should stop
suggesting
trying to kill the president. What do you mean?
But do you mean, is there like not the
Oh.
double meaning there that you want them to successfully kill the president?
Whoa, that would be a crazy reading of that tweet.
Is it a crazy? I feel like it's.
Are you implying that I would want an 86-47 or whatever? That would just be insane.
Well, you might get indicted for that, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that because I obviously disagree with that indictment. But I just wonder, again, ceding to you the point entirely that I share, that Trump is wildly reckless and that his words are much more influential and important than yours or mine or Blair's.
I mean, yeah. Trump's words are in fact more influential than any YouTubers.
You maybe not troll in the aftermath of a shooting.
When the president trolls in the aftermath of everything? I thought
But
it was all just
that's
trolling.
just whataboutism. That's two wrongs make a right.
It's not whataboutism. It's the president.
Wait, is he debating them both, or is he debating just Blair White? Who is he debating? Is he debating the host? Is he debating Blair White? Who is he debating?
The United States sets the tone, and I'm not going to be tone policed by people that don't seem to give a fuck about what the president of the United States is saying or doing. So it's such a stupid, silly argument, I think.
I'll just say really quickly, whenever I see people act like everything comes from the top, the president always sets the tone, like it's kind of as glorifying and like
The center guy is clearly an enlightened centrist, so right wing. I mean, he seems to be debating together with Blair White against Mr. Bonelli. Mr. Bonelli seems to be double teamed in this debate. It feels like a very strange, a very wick style of doing moderation. If this person is supposed to be a moderator, then I mean, I don't know. It's not very moderated.
deifying of the president as people on the right who think that he's like the second coming of Jesus. I actually don't think he has that much power. I think that the collective
I'm sorry. Did Blair White just say that she doesn't think that Trump has all that much power?
consciousness of the people in the country also majorly set the tone. And all we've seen in recent years is
The consciousness of the country.
on leftist Twitter, TikTok, etc., which
Of course, leftist Twitter. Who cares about what the president says or does? Have you been paying attention to leftist Twitter and TikTok? Don't change.
matters. I know you guys, I've noticed you guys tend to make it about just the politics, TikTok, etc., which and all we've seen in recent years is
I told you, all she has for politics is leftist TikTok and Twitter. That's her like main go-to source of information. God damn.
on leftist Twitter, TikTok, etc., which matters. I know you guys, I've noticed you guys
TikTok matters.
tend to make it about just the politicians, like because Hakeem Jeffries or AOC isn't necessarily saying things that incite violence. It's like you guys like to ignore that every day it's trending on Twitter with like hundreds of thousands of likes, millions of views. But like you guys are constantly saying things about how the president needs to get killed, but Republicans in general needs to.
Hello, Maya Mayor. Have you considered the TikToks, the Twitters, the likes, the engagement? Have you considered how important these things are? Way more important than some president.
To get killed. You personally have said that Republicans should feel afraid of getting killed for going to any public events. If you guys think that that doesn't matter because you guys aren't in office, I think it's just delusional. You guys have
Stephen a chance to
way more
explain what he
power
meant,
in terms
though.
of setting the tone of culture. You guys have all.
You have way more power than the president of the United States, TikTokers. I would argue that TikTok bloggers have way more power than president of the United States. Duh. Just because they're not in office, it doesn't mean that they don't move and shake the culture. This is the discourse. This is the biggest right-wing trans content creator. I'm embarrassed.
Always owned culture, and that's why we're in an assassination culture right now.
It's such a
This makes perfect sense, of course. You TikTokers and bloggers and leftists have always owned the culture, and this is why we are in assassination culture right now. Oy.
Stephen, I want to give you a chance
Sure.
to respond
So
if you want to explain those comments that you made, because those
so
have
the
been
issue
taken.
is that the people that you guys get mad at are the people that your own media figures show you. You guys manufacture outrage like nothing. There's a reason why
People
when
who
people
shoot
on the
places
left,
up, that's who we're mad at.
people
Okay.
on the left who say crazy shit will be people on
Every single video is just a montage of some random people, teachers, complete just nobodies from the street. F? No, I don't think so. Wait, did the stream die or something? Or are we struck down? Oh. That doesn't sound right. Warzone internet. It's okay. Back. Listen, the internet is faulty and cannot be blamed. Am I still gone? Am I back? Am I still gone? Uh-oh. Oof. Unlucky. Unlucky ASMR stream. Am I still gone? Don't silence Steven.
Anything is a great example of this. This is manufactured outrage. Nobody on the left was talking about this, and then a whole bunch of right-wing people found some random left account and made it sound like it was some huge drama issue on the left. It's insane. Even the comment of mine that you're bringing up right now. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's great. Even the comment of mine right now that you brought up of conservatives need to be afraid. That's the thing that you saw on Jesse Waters, or that's the thing that you saw right-wing Twitter run with.
I did not see it on Jesse Waters. I saw it on Twitter from searching your name this morning.
Yes, you didn't see it on my stream, okay? Because if you listen to even a minute of me talking about that, my issue is that every time a politically violent event happens, conservatives get horny as to talk about the oncoming civil war and to talk about all the violence that's about to happen.
I mean, that is true. Especially Russian sellouts like Tim Pool often talk about a civil war in the making.
That we're going to get even and blah, blah, blah. And my comment there is that when left-wing people talk about political violence, generally speaking, it seems like there's like a healthy sense of fear, which we should all have. We shouldn't want to live in an assassination environment. But every time there's a killing, conservatives seem horny as to beat the war drums on it. And I think there's no healthy sense
when
of fear.
Luigi Mangione took out the healthcare CEO, you want to talk about horny? Every leftist woman in America
every single
wet
person,
her panties
every
over that
single
and still
person
is
did
collectively.
That. You think Ben Shapiro's comment section is full of left-wing people? That was
Well,
everybody.
we can look at
because
polling,
every single
Steven,
person
and
has
the
been
Steven
attacking.
Perfect. Thank you, Incob. The internet is not working the best. Maybe I should have reset modem before starting the stream, but you know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. And also it happens to me.
The polling does show that is more of a left-wing phenomenon.
For
The
Mangione, I'm pretty
thing.
sure there was decent bipartisan. I'm sure it skews a little bit more on the left, but I'm sure there was decent bipartisan support.
Actually, a lot of people on the right supported the whole thing as well. Weirdly enough.
For him shooting and killing the healthcare exec.
Yeah. People just hate the people just hate those companies, those insurance companies, left and right, it seems.
Which is not good.
If you look at the polling, it is more profound among left of center respondents.
100%. And at the end of the day,
leftists are crazy. TikTok is more powerful than the president, and you should be ashamed.
like, I'm glad you guys can so always point to things Republicans are saying, and I'm never going to. You could list a million things that you find inappropriate or incendiary that a Republican says, conservative says, and I could go on the list and condemn it with you very, very easily because that's how I feel.
Doesn't matter.
It's interesting how you guys are constantly pointing to things conservatives are saying, whereas we can sit here and constantly point to things that leftists are doing that actually result.
The leftists are doing. The conservatives are just saying, but the leftists are doing. Hello, Maya Mayor.
In shots being fired and people actually getting shot. So it's not equal. The idea that...
I mean, I'm pretty sure that since Trump is the president, the right wing is doing a lot more than the left.
This is a problem on both sides is equal. The idea that people continue to say it is, and yet it's not any leftist podcasters getting shot in broad daylight in college campuses, thank God.
You guys won't even acknowledge.
It's not Biden who was shot at 3 times, thank God. Is it 3 or 4? You're losing count even of how many times Trump's been shot at.
Shot at.
So You can talk about words all day and words do matter, but then you have the real
But you have to understand that we are in the assassination culture that the woke leftists on TikTok have created. Thank you.
life consequences and manifestations of those words, and to pretend as if there's an equal playing field of violence going on. I think you guys are very lucky that Republicans and people on the right who actually own guns and know how to operate them are not just as incendiary as you guys, are not trending every other day on Twitter for how we need to take somebody out on the left. I think you guys are very lucky, and I think if anything, you guys really push it when you do incite all this stuff. And it's not just you, because we don't need to make it just about you, because it's clearly not. It's people like Hassan, it's what was her name? Not Brianna Wu. Taylor Lorenz had a whole thumbnail about how someone needs to do it and like circled Trump, it clearly, insinuating assassination, hundreds of thousands of views. It's clearly an issue. And to deny that, I don't think that you have anyone's best interest or the country's best interest to see you're in denial of that.
This is just a very unserious approach. This is a child's approach to politics.
That's fair. Blair White does have a pretty childish approach to politics. I'm not gonna argue against that.
The environment in the United States right now.
You're serious by being in complete denial of what's actually happening?
Denial.
Let's let Stephen respond.
You would look at the country where the president and your political party tries to be as maximally inflammatory at all points in time in the most egregious manner possible, and then when people on the left respond predictably,
this happening to Democrats and leftists? I don't want it to.
Who's
but why
get
the results
to
that
kill
it's
Joe
constantly
Biden?
happening to you guys? It's happening one way.
Name me two things that Joe Biden said that incited hatred in your heart.
Oops. Okay, let's hear the quotes. Let's hear the receipts.
You're like, God, I can't believe Biden said that.
I can't even think about what Biden said or didn't say.
I cannot think of anything that Biden has said, but you know what I can say? I can say that I watched a lot of TikToks, left-wing TikToks, on which people said horrendous things. And also on leftist Twitter. And as you know, leftist Twitter and leftist TikTok have a far more power than any president. How do you get Brianna Wu and Taylor Lorenz mixed up? Beats me.
He was barely alive. He was a vegetable. You guys voted in a vegetable that sat and didn't actually say or do anything
Trump
for 4
said in
years.
the past 2 weeks that are like, holy shit, I can see somebody wanted to think about this. That's crazy.
You hone in on people who are holding office and you completely ignore the...
Yeah, you just hone in on the most powerful person in the world instead of focusing more on TikTok or Twitter. What are you doing? What are you doing? You should focus your attention where it matters. You should focus on people that actually hold power in this country. And by this country, I mean that country. That is Warzone interwebs. That is the Warzone interwebs indeed. Though I think if I reset modem, it would work better, but whatever. Warzone internet it is.
The entire culture and the consciousness of...
There you go. You don't focus on the culture and the consciousness of the people manifesting on TikTok.
The collective around you.
So
the collective. The quarantine collective.
Not even this isn't a real conversation. This is not real.
All right,
I'm going to move us along to the next point here. Right now in the moment, and you don't want to address it. You can look specifically at Joe Biden or specifically...
Please address TikTok. Please do. This is not serious. Please address the TikToks.
Specifically at Trump. I'm trying to say expand your mind a little bit. Just look at the masses. Look at what...
Yeah, expand your mind. You should take more of your political takes from bloggers.
What people are actually thinking, because these shooters are coming out of the masses. They're coming from random, radicalized leftists. They're not coming from...
There you go. All the shooters are coming from random, radicalized leftists from the masses.
People in office. So what are those people being filled with in their head? Are they following...
Leftists, because the masses are leftists. Every single random person from the masses is a leftist.
streamers who associate being Republican with being worthy of being victimized of violence? Are they following accounts? Are they listening to things on CNN about how Trump is verifiably a pedophile and all these things? It matters what's going in their heads and why the outcome is they think they can go in with a gun and take out the president or someone around him.
So,
and
Steve,
again,
I want to get Stephen's opinion
sorry.
on the next question here, which is essentially one of the most frustrating things about the kind of right wing for me has been they start with a trait that I share, which is like distrust of establishment institutions and media outlets and
a libertarian mod.
all of that. But then they quickly go into the tinfoil hat brigade land. And so
The Blair White Brigade.
that you could get into all the different things they pushed over the years. But
Thank you for the $40 in Cube. But have you seen lefty TikToks? I have not. I am not a very TikTok person, I'm afraid. But tonight I am an ASMR person.
I do suddenly detect a bit of an uptick on that from the blue side of the aisle, like people suggesting that the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting was staged. Do you think it was staged?
I don't know. I lean towards
You
no
don't know?
on stuff like that. But like, the issue is that in the past, I could give good reasons to defend why things like this would never happen. All of those reasons have been explicitly attacked and destroyed by the sycophants that are filling the White House right now. So in the past, if somebody were to ask me, is it possible that the entire FBI would rig some type of investigation against the president or something like that, right? Like the what was the name of? I don't even know the actual name of the thing anymore, Crossfire Hurricane or whatever, right? We got a whole analysis and a report of that. And my perspective on a thing like that is that, are there some political biases that could potentially permeate some organization that could make people lean in a certain way or look, a different way at things? Like, yeah, 100%. But could somebody do like a top-down conspiracy? There are way too many people involved. You just can't realistically do things like that with the intelligence community.
I didn't think there'd be a whole discussion on the... Let's see, put the ass in ASMR. What do you mean, put the ass in ASMR? What does that mean? What do you mean, Incub? What do you mean?
However, now we have an FBI where Kash Patel has...
Also, I take it your job thing went well. I take it from the fact that you've donated.
personally gone through like FBI agents that were involved in investigations on Donald Trump and fired them. We are having like loyalty tests given to people to make sure, look at even for federal judges that are sitting before the Senate confirmation committees where they're refusing to acknowledge that Biden won the 2020 election.
Yeah, that's
how the
joke.
Can I defend my institutions and say that you should trust what these people are putting out?
But you still acknowledge
Gabbard,
there's no evidence it was staged, right? There's no evidence.
There's no evidence that it was staged. No, but before I could say beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's just not possible to even do something like that. The amount of people involved, it just wouldn't be possible. But now you've got a president who has...
I don't know. Oh, I keep my fingers crossed for you. Blair Witch is so silly and cringe. That's true. Maya Mayor says, I want to say no, but there is so much weird stuff surrounding the shooting at the Correspondents' Diner that it's hard to say. Ah, nice. Okay, nice.
Has pardoned people for seditious conspiracy, all of the 1600 J6ers. You've got Tulsi Gabbard telling Congress that she wasn't even really involved in the targeting of Iran. I don't know what the how am I supposed to tell somebody there's no way this could happen when every part of our institution has been attacked and destroyed and undermined by the President of the United States?
Well, because you start from the premise that there's no evidence that it's staged, first of all, and is there evidence?
No, there's no evidence that it's staged, but typically the place you would start from is like, well, the place that I would start, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I'm being pedantic. The place I would start from is like...
Occam's razor, right? The most likely explanation is that there are millions of crazy people out there, and some of them do really hate...
There's a crazy delay. If there's a crazy delay, it's probably because of the interwebs. Yeah, it's because of the interwebs. My apologies. Unfortunately, things are not well. Okay. Unfortunate.
Trump and want to kill him,
For sure.
and we can see this, the most likely explanation is that one of them showed up with a gun and tried to kill
Most
the president.
likely, 100%, I agree. But the place that I usually start from is like, is it possible? What are my a priori?
I mean,
here,
it's not,
right?
it's not impossible, but I feel like that's not where you usually start with conspiracy theories. You usually start with the reasonable explanation and then demand proof and explanations of the conspiracy.
Sure, but depending on the type of conspiracy we're talking, unfortunately, we just never get all that information, right? So especially when it comes to like government coordinated stuff, it's like, is this even possible? If it is possible, then we kind of go from there. I would agree with this shooting. There's no reason to believe that it's a conspiracy or that it's set up.
Blair, I'm sorry, I will bring you in 1 sec.
I would agree with you there, yeah.
I just want to, I think what you're saying right now is so reasonable, but then why do you like...
I know this delay listening. It's because the internet is reviving. You have to exit every once in a while.
Tweet stuff.
I'm just waiting for Dr. Jeans to call me. When Dr. Jeans calls me, we're finishing with this. We're not watching the whole thing.
Where you said, for example, I have it here, 33% approval, perfect, send another assassin. Make him collapse in the hall, though. Play the sound effects for 5 shots.
It was a Truman Show guy. It was a good tweet.
Okay, listen, I know maybe you're just being funny, but it's not funny because millions of people actually do believe it's staged and do believe all this stuff is fake, and then they no longer take political violence seriously.
Oh.
So
No. It's just like with the moon landing, isn't it? The moon landing was fake as well. It was all staged.
But Brad, because Destiny's not in office, he thinks his words have absolutely no power and no consequences.
But I think they do. Obviously less than Trump.
Right.
But...
because you have common sense. So like, I know that when I speak, if I, there's consequences for what I say. People are inspired to do things because of what I say. And
I have common sense on my side.
That's the same for Destiny. So that's why personally, I would never say anything like that, especially when we're on our 3rd or 4th assassination attempt in general. So things do, there's domino effects, there's consequences to actions, including words, and you don't have to be in office for that to matter.
So you don't feel bad about tweeting stuff like that? It's all just memes?
I think it's funny. If the Republicans aren't going to conduct themselves in a serious manner, I think you should laugh at them for it, yeah.
But so it's like, again, we're with that 2 wrongs make a right. Let me ask you this. If there was a civil war in this country and the Republicans started raping women as part of the war, would your response be that Democrats should also rape women as part of the war?
No, I would say we shouldn't.
Because you have objective moral standards you should hold yourself in your conduct to, right? But you seem to, when it's just rhetoric, obviously that's not the same as, but I'm trying to test your principle here.
So here's the issue, and I know this doesn't stick because people just don't want to understand this or whatever, but I don't give a f***, okay? There are...
Of course.
There are actions that we do that are good because as part of being a human and living in a society, we understand that when we all do these things, generally speaking, they all benefit us. When we talk about things like and murder and theft, you could say that like the action itself is not good for whatever reason you want to argue. And then, sure, I would agree with most of these. But also because who the f wants to live in a society where everybody's murdering each other, stealing everything, and raping everybody? It's not good. These are horrible societies to live in. So there's reasons why we all adhere to these moral principles. But if you construct a society such that one side can constantly violate the rules and then cast it as though that's not what's actually happening. And then when the other side tries to say, guys, we all need to stop doing this particular thing, which gives the impression that it is a two-sided problem, there's no morality in that. This is the equivalent to that civil war happening and then somebody saying, well, shouldn't we turn the other cheek and just let them win? Of course not. The most Christian person in the world would say, well, of course we should fight back. Because in that case, rolling over and allowing the other side to destroy you, there's no morality in that. There's no virtue in that. And so this idea, this is why, and I'll do it here because you know what, Brad, because I respect you, because I believe the things you say. But like on Piers Morgan, if I'm surrounded by a bunch of soulless conservatives, I'm never disavowing violence because the only thing they do is they take that disavowal and they go, look, the left acknowledges that it's their problem. And then they continue to stoke the flames on their end. Yeah. That is, we're on a one-way track to destruction here. But
what I would say is that at the end of the
American politics
day, you should strive to be a good person and uphold yourself to moral standards.
I understand you're saying that, and what I'm telling you is it's not a good person to sit there and give the other side ammunition to use against your own.
I mean, I guess whether or not Mr. Bonelli is a good person is debatable.
Political side to pretend
is.
I mean, you can be a horrible person and be politically correct or on the right side. That happens. There's some pretty left-leaning people in real-life politics that I would call horrible people on a personal level. Big Jerry, Democratic women are significantly more likely than Republican men to say they could win a fight with Donald Trump.
Listen, there is zero ammunition that I would feel I was getting right now for you to be like, shootings are bad, like assassination attempts are bad. Just like you can sit here and ask me to condemn a million things that Trump has done, and because I have my own individual principles that I hold to a higher, obligation amongst myself to actually stick to. I'm not
amongst myself.
going to abandon those just because you're sitting in front of me and we disagree on XYZ policy.
Blair,
I think that's
I'm sorry.
kind of ridiculous.
I'm so sorry, but I would just add also that, Stephen, I would feel that it actually gives Republicans...
Jesus Christ, they're both debating him, quite literally. They're both in this debate together.
and conservative media more ammunition when you don't disavow a shooting on Piers Morgan, for example. They use that as proof. Look, all leftists are crazy, even though that's like obviously not representative of even your full scope of your views, let alone the entire party. Aren't you giving them ammunition?
Look, they say the leftists are crazy, even though even you're not totally crazy.
By doing that.
No, because
People
if it wasn't me, they would find a one follower Twitter account, and then they would say the exact same thing, right?
They would carry less weight.
People use against you, Destiny.
I mean, Blair White will definitely do that. Let's not kid ourselves. That is Blair White's entire YouTube career, looking for those nobody Twitter people and then just blasting them.
As someone who's in a right-wing
murdered by a
algorithm.
Republican shooter, it's impossible.
Destiny,
like there's just no purpose. We're on a track right now. It's not going to change. This argument is retarded. This is just a deeply unserious argument. I'm sorry. This is not. You can't have one political party that is constantly stoking the flames, internationally too, by the way, and then pretend that if Democrats at home just kept, disavowing, then eventually we're going to get back on path. Conservatives love the violence.
True.
You guys love it. You invite it. You're horny for it. You're excited for it. That's
why
I said there needs to be a healthy fear in this country.
Why does polling show more support for political violence among liberal Americans?
Because conservatives don't consider alligator Alcatraz or Trump threatening to jail his political opponents as political violence. What was this poll that I saw a while ago? Actually, you're so right, Brad. I'm not being sarcastic. There was a poll that I saw where I think...
That is true. Right-wingers don't consider that violence. They consider that keeping electoral promises.
Think liberals ranked higher than conservatives, and it was something along the line. I wish I could remember the exact thing, but it was like, is it ever justified to use political violence or to kill an opponent or something like this? And I think the liberal part of that poll was higher than the conservative part. But the reason why is because when conservatives think about killing people, they don't consider it political violence.
Hold on, let's see.
Who were the people that were constantly saying the tree of liberty needs to be watered by the blood of patriots? Who was constantly spamming the don't tread on me and my Second Amendment right is to defend from a corrupt government? They don't consider these things in the vein. You're going to tell me that Second Amendment loving conservatives don't believe in a healthy sense of political violence?
From the government, albeit I think a lot of conservatives have a little bit of a fantasy in their head about defending themselves from a tyrannical government with their personal firearms. But to pretend as if that's the same thing...
Wouldn't that be
as political violence as actual people at Trump rallies dying and getting shot? To pretend as if it's the same thing as going in and trying to assassinate the president is insane. That's not the same thing.
Okay, so there it is. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. This is why it polls so lowly on conservative. They don't consider that political violence. It's something different. This is more noble. It's more righteous. That's not political violence. It's self-defense from the government.
Well, I'm going to move us along here because we have gotten bogged down in this, but I also think
All right, let's switch topics. This is getting boring. And I'm still waiting for Dr. Jones, by the way.
Some valuable points that we fleshed out. So I do appreciate the spirited conversation. Mm-hmm. This, though, we've talked about all of this rhetoric in this conversation about this. I do believe has an effect of desensitizing people to violence. So I've been kind of disturbed to see, and I want to get both of your thoughts on this trend across TikTok and other
TikTok again. God damn.
Platforms as well. You have this rise of users essentially using the audio of Charlie Kirk's assassination, of him literally dying, as a transition sound for outfits for prom and other things. So here's the headline: TikTok pulls all known viral outfit videos using Charlie Kirk assassination gunshot audio. But for a while, these were going viral, and a bunch of young people...
TikTok is stupid. What am I supposed to say to that? TikTok people have always been stupid, and There's always been this weird TikTok challenge thing, so I don't care. I don't care about what happens on TikTok.
We're doing it. I want to play you guys a sample. I'll probably change out the music in post-production.
Damn those darn kids and their TikToks. I know, right? This is stupid that people treat this even remotely seriously.
So it doesn't actually show the sound, but you guys will hear it and we'll discuss. Listen to this.
It's
So
disgusting.
Yeah, it's stupid TikTok crap. I don't care. I just don't care. Again, this is just TikTok nobodies.
it's horrible.
Will Bonelli have the same take as me? That just
It's terrible.
okay.
I
What
see
am I
some
supposed to do with
conservatives on
this?
like Twitter trying to like find these young women and their names and cancel them and find where their parents work and get their college offers rescinded. And I don't support any
It's
of that.
literally nobody's on TikTok. It's just, what am I supposed to think of? What am I supposed to do with this?
Because Blair, my read on this is these women, or most of them, they're 16, 17, probably most of them are not like hard leftists who actually are glad Charlie's dead. They're probably people who are just totally desensitized, and it's been turned
Yeah.
into a meme, and they've, had to do school shooting drills, and they've seen so much violence that they just didn't realize how profane that comes across and how insensitive and inhumane it comes off.
Right.
So I don't think they're all necessarily evil, but it concerns me that young people.
I don't think they're necessarily evil. Oh god, people have been doing this always. This is not a new phenomenon.
Are this desensitized, Blair?
Yeah. I would err on the side of they're just a couple young, dumb bitches who don't know the gravity of that.
Then why are we even talking about this?
I do find it disgusting. I don't agree with like going and trying to ruin their lives. They're young women with the rest of their lives ahead of them. That's a bit much for me. But I think the point is proven partially by that, obviously, that people are super desensitized to it. I mean, we have a great example right here in Destiny. I mean, to be honest, like, obviously the litany of things that you've said around political violence is indicative of the fact that you are yourself desensitized to it. I'm desensitized to it as well. I think we all are. Like,
Jesus Christ almighty.
it's even in this last shooting and incident, it's weird. It's almost like despite the fact that I was physically near this last one, it still didn't shake me as much as like the first one when I was just seeing it on Twitter. So that's how I knew, like, oh, wow.
Twitter. Blair White lives on Twitter and on TikTok. Very sad.
I'm way too...
I saw it on Twitter. Oof.
Way too used to that. But that's where it comes down to. The only solution to that is the individual responsibility that everyone has as citizens, and then even more so as commentators, to lower the tone, to lower the pressure, to say like, hey, we can't go down this route, because when we go down this route, yeah, it's cringe to be talking about civil war and all this, but
what does that have to do with being desensitized? Like that has nothing to do with tone. That has nothing to do with temperature. People get desensitized when they experience things. The more you're exposed to violence, the more you become numb to it. That's just how humans work. That is a coping mechanism. That is part of ours. The more horrible things we experience, the more we become desensitized to it, numb, so to speak. Air siren.
is this not how things like that start historically? They don't
But would
just
you
start with
acknowledge
everyone.
that Trump should Trump as the president he never will, but he should lead by example on that.
Absolutely. And that's not difficult for me to say at all. Like the amount of things that Trump says that I, on a range from roll my eyes at to feel the need to publicly condemn, like it's a lot of things. I don't like, the way he disrespects, Christianity often in his words. I don't like the way that he will dehumanize Democrats as much as I am not a fan of Democrats. Like, absolutely. But the difference is I'm not going to pretend as if only Donald Trump's words matter, as if citizens on a regular.
Maya Mayor says, speaking of people stuck on Twitter, I watched the BJG versus Contrapoints debate. Contrapoints had a debate? Link it. Hello, Slop Lucy. Hello, Simon Pierre Dubé. I'm listening in because there's an air siren that just started. Hopefully no explosions tonight. Hopefully no missiles. Russia already back to attacking Kyiv. I guess the ceasefire is over. Contrapoints got steamrolled, not much of a debate. 3 hour, oh crap, what was it on? But yes, clearly ceasefire is over. I heard it was breached earlier, actually, today. I heard that the ceasefire was breached by Russia along the front line.
Everyday level don't matter, and then even more so commentators who are speaking to hundreds of thousands to millions of citizens.
Destiny, are you bothered by people kind of having this desensitization to violence in these videos, or do you not care?
He doesn't care.
Like, again, they shouldn't, but again, I don't know how to have this is like a real conversation. Like, if you are,
I mean, desensitization just happens due to exposure. It doesn't happen due to rhetoric. It doesn't happen due to the tone being hot or cold. It just, the more you get exposed to certain things, the less they affect you. That is what happens. That is a psychological phenomena.
Maybe you're dissociating, maybe you're like going through it, but it's a real conversation.
it's not. This is not a real conversation. Okay.
Okay.
So,
well, then why are you here?
Okay.
because I love and respect Brad.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, then you shouldn't say that the conversation that he set up isn't real.
Sure.
He
Well,
set the
because
conversation up,
eventually-
so have some respect.
Eventually, the American people, the American people will eventually figure this out, or not, and we'll all blow each other up. Okay. When streamers are fighting, or when you're a YouTuber or an influencer, if I were to turn on my stream today and I were to start making a whole bunch of sexist or racist jokes, then I think that eventually my community would become racist and sexist. They just would. You can see it immediately. And when a streamer ever gets called out for the behavior of his audience, people will very quickly look. Yeah, I know it's hard to explain how the real world works.
So you don't think people are becoming more violent or desensitized to violence because you're putting that out there? You just acknowledge that if you were being racist, your audience would turn racist.
Correct, but I'm not generally making like I'm pretty careful with my community. We talk a lot about political violence. We talk a lot about what our stances are on it. Believe it or not, my community watches my stream. They don't just watch the 20-second clips that you guys get off to when you see them on Twitter floating around. Because I do.
No, I don't think Destiny is very careful with his community.
Think a lot about that, because when I see a shooting happen, one of the first things that I think about as a content creator is, how would I feel if this guy came from my community? Would this be a happy thing for me, or would I be like, ooh, I don't really like that? And basically every single time I've seen one, I wouldn't want this person to come from my community. So we usually do talk about it. There are jokes that I've made in the past. I know that you guys love to clip or whatever. There's one where I'm running around in like Modern Warfare 3 or whatever, I don't know, some battle royale game, where I say something like, we got to genocide all conservatives, blah, blah, blah. And I know that the conservatives have been running around with this one recently. This clip is
Okay, I've had enough. It's enough from Blair White and Destiny. Let's watch a little bit of this Contrapoints thing. We're definitely not watching the entirety of this. We're definitely not watching 3 hours of debate, okay? Between... I don't even know who this is. I don't even know... The left only wants to endlessly critique power. I mean, critiquing power is okay. It's okay to critique power. Contrapoints being unwilling to critique the Democrats in any meaningful way for 3 hours. I mean, I'm definitely willing to criticize the Democrats for not having good stances on Ukraine, but then again, some will say that it's a strategy to squeeze out leftists out of politics. So, hello, Polyponica. Sometimes the biggest leftists don't want you to criticize the Democrats for some reason when it comes to certain topics. In this war zone.
Is there something else that I'm missing here that's your critique of the left?
My frustration with the left is more that when it comes time to actually elect, the energy is so oppositional.
Let's talk about leverage.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I have more leverage against Kamala Harris before she's elected or once she's president for 4 years?
Before she's elected, yes. You use your leverage before she's elected and you tell her do this, that, or the other to win our vote. Obviously, politicians are most malleable when they are running for election, re-election, what have you. Which is why the whole Track Ukraine does that, right? To try to tell people to have a good stance on Ukraine, because then people that like Ukraine will vote for them. That's the basic idea. Brianna Joy Gray used to work on Bernie's campaign and afterwards advocates for progressives to join a third party instead of the Democrats.
Protest voters are sort of unwinnable, are sort of like never happy, right? Whereas there are like centrist median voters that are more winnable.
And how has that been panning out?
And if the Democrats pivot to the far left, that there's this like available
The far
voter
left?
base. Well, by
Is
Democratic
not
Party
supporting a
standards.
genocide as
By
far
Democratic-
left?
By Democratic Party
No, Track Ukraine is good. Track Ukraine. Oh, have you been checking out Track Ukraine, Maya Mayor? Also, no, the Democratic Party has definitely not been pivoting to the far left, I don't think. It's just silly. I feel like it is a good strategy to try to pressure candidates to do good things. You should check out Track Ukraine.
standards.
Well,
I
isn't
mean,
that quite the admission?
Okay, I mean, so I joke about like how we
Wait,
vote for
sorry,
state
what did-
party standards.
Well,
I
isn't
mean,
that
by
is not
Democratic Party
supporting a
standards.
genocide as
By
far
Democratic-
left?
By Democratic Party standards.
Well,
I
isn't
mean,
that quite the admission?
By Democratic Party standards, being anti-genocide is far left? That is a weird... That is a strange thing to say. I think she just not... I think Contrapoints is just not super used to talking live about things.
Okay, I mean, so I joke about like how we vote
Yeah, trackukraine.com. You should check. And you should get to the Track Ukraine Instagram. Here we go. We're gonna go to it. There we go. Is this it? Are we here? You have posters here of people that have been raided. Thomas Massey stands against Free Ukraine. Vote against aid, vote against sanctions, vote against condemning trafficking of children, That for me is a very damning thing. If you're a politician that does not condemn but actually votes against condemning of kidnapping Ukrainian children, that's not a good politician. Voting against seizing it, that's a Republican, of course. Pretty sure that guy is a Republican. Yeah, you know him. Polyphonica says, I feel like Contrapoints is driven by personal grievances against leftists. He hasn't left the whole cancelled incident from 2020. That's a long time ago. That's like 6 years ago. 2020. But yeah, look at this. Mike Thompson is good on Ukraine. Voted for aid. Voted for sanctions. Condemned trafficking of children. And calls out US abandonment. So Mike Thompson is better than Thomas Messi. But yes, you have a whole bunch of people that have been rated by the org. Right? So go to the TikToks, go to the Instagrams and observe Track Ukraine. It's worth. Alright, let's continue this for a bit. Also, I'm not sure. I think the air siren is over. I think the danger has passed.
For Satan to stop Donald Trump. I've heard there probably is a line. I have yet not found it yet of like what like moral depth to which I would stoop to stop Donald Trump.
So
It's
what
pretty
does that
low.
mean?
Yeah.
So I'm here with Natalie Wynn, aka Contrapoints, who is one of the biggest and most prolific and I think most efficacious video essayists on the left in BreadTube. I don't know if you embrace that term, but it's really nice to be. You condemn the term BreadTube. Why is that?
Well,
30 drones approaching Kiev.
I had never thought it made any sense. Like, I mean, the phrase "breadtube" is a reference to the conquest of bread, an anarchist book. I'm not an anarchist. I don't know why this like framing has been imposed on, but you know, it is what it is. You don't get to choose these things.
How do you identify politically?
I identify as like a left liberal at this stage.
Oh no, we're still on the alert. FB Graph says, try to put in effort to look like oh, sorry. I'm not doing my best makeups while I'm in a war zone. Apologies, as always. Sorry, not trying hard enough while I listen out for missiles and drones. I should do better, you're right. Yeah, that's gonna be my priority when I'm in here. Definitely. We can skip to 20 minutes. They don't start disagreeing until then. Oh, okay.
Aggressively that he couldn't win. And you have, CNN hosts saying that there's going to be beheadings in Central Park because of the coming socialist raids. Like, well, of course, what else could the voting public possibly believe? They were never once told about how every single poll showed that Bernie was the most.
War makeup is great. Yeah, I should get my priorities straight, right? The hell?
Electable candidate.
So I guess my concern with this is just that like to put so much blame on the media. I mean, like sure, like you can always blame the media. Like I blame the media for for a lot of things. I blame the media for a lot of Donald Trump's success because they kind of have
Sure.
inadvertently, but it's like the media is what it is. And like, I think that this needs to be, I guess I feel like there's a kind of like defeatism contained in this kind of idea of it all being rigged, where it's like a progressive candidate to win in the Democratic Party. I think it is possible, right? But I feel that it is this kind of, I see it as I guess defeatist to suggest that it's all hopelessly rigged.
Well, I don't think it's defeatist. I don't think
Yeah.
it's hopelessly. Well, what is the it? What is the it exactly? And
Well,
what do we mean by progressive candidate?
the primary, let's say.
Okay. So if you were to ask me, I would say that my attitude is the opposite of defeatist. But it is. I think I'm being pragmatic. I worked for Bernie, obviously, in 2020. I believed enough in the possibility of winning as a progressive within the Democratic Party to, take a pretty significant pay cut and go be a national press secretary and give my life to this. But then I learned the lesson from that, which is that my fundamental belief is that if you are genuinely progressive, meaning that you take a aggressive stance against the interest groups that are at the root of making life bad for working class Americans, meaning the banking industry, the energy sector, calling out corporate PACs, foreign influence PACs like APAC and all of the rest, the health insurance lobby, obviously. Because you advance populist policies that are counter to those interests, right? Like universal health care, ending wars, the Green New Deal, etc.
Ending wars. I wonder where this person stands when it comes to supporting Ukraine. I kind of get nervous when people say ending wars. Not gonna lie. It can mean many different things depending on who says them. And there is a history.
That because
Brianna was not great, to be honest. No, Brianna was definitely not great.
those interests are so embedded in the Democratic Party as a corporate party, they
Not
will
the
stop at
best.
nothing to stop you. I think that is very difficult to argue with. Is it possible that one might be successful despite those efforts? I think it's possible. But I think that it's frankly so unlikely that we have to, as the left, heighten the contradictions, make that really clear to the voting public, and encourage the public to focus their energy on other strategies to affect change.
Okay.
Okay, I
do you
think
think
this
of
is. I think this is where this is where the real disagreement begins.
Okay.
Sure, let's get
okay.
into it.
Right. Like I think
Finally.
because I think that I guess what I sort of don't understand about your position is I don't understand what is like the theory of change here and on like what time frame do you imagine this happening? Because I guess the way I see it is that the consequences of Donald Trump winning have been so dire that it's like very difficult for me to take seriously the suggestion that like, well, it's a correct, it's the idea that we should have diverted all energy away from Kamala Harris to focus on some kind of more revolutionary long-term change. It's like, well, isn't there some way that we can like, I don't know, both elect a plausible center-left candidate and also have a longer-term, more progressive strategy, considering like stuff like, allowing Elon Musk to come in and destroy USAID, and which is probably killing hundreds of thousands of people.
Why would you be suspicious of these two? Of who?
And like, the Supreme Court
They're good progressives.
that's overturned Roe v. Wade and is gutting voting rights and all these like fairly difficult to reverse, like catastrophic consequences. Like that is like a fairly massive short and medium term sacrifice for a potential maybe long term benefit.
Well,
and
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe I guess I would maybe need to hear you explain what you think is the theory of long term change here that comes from voting third party, for example.
Well, I would say two things. One, that I and third party voters did not cause Trump to win the first time or the
Yeah.
second time, right? There were more
Yeah,
Bernie Trump
I agree
voters,
with
as you
that.
know. Okay. Two, I would say I'm not, while I might believe, frankly, somewhat pessimistically, that but for things getting worse and having a sort of an acceleration is spent, people are not going to wake up and make things better. I am not, in fact, an accelerationist because I wouldn't actively try to make things
Okay.
worse. And it wasn't me arguing that Donald Trump should win over Kamala Harris. My argument was that Kamala Harris is absolutely going to lose if she declines to move on Gaza. And we were right about
I mean, that kind of did pan out to be true. Apparently, the Gaza thing was a pretty big sticking point.
that, right?
Do you think that Gaza is the issue that cost her the election?
I think it's been pretty proven out by the data. So what we have
I mean, it's been not a small factor.
is a number of studies, including a study by IMEU, that polls Biden 2020 voters as to why they didn't vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, right? Like what makes up that deficit that made him win and her lose. And the number one issue is Gaza. The number one issue now, so it's not the majority, it's not above 50% of people, right? But of all of the issues listed at like,
But I
27%
think it was not a small issue.
or whatever it was, 29%, it was close to 30%, was Gaza. So there were a lot of different things, right? The short primary, Biden's senility, the sense that they were, dishonest and hiding that from us as a public, the lack of a primary, all of these things. But when you saw how many voters, particularly in swing states like
Some say that the big factor was the fact that Biden was just allowed to run for so long and not just. They should have given her maybe the thing from the get-go. That's also an argument that is being made.
Michigan, were openly saying, we will vote for you. The uncommitted movement, remember, wasn't a we're not going to vote for you movement. It was a we're holding our votes hostage in exchange for this policy concession, which frankly would make you more.
I'm gonna call Dr. Jones now. I'm ready to start a voice call with my favorite viewer. It's time for stir fry. No. Also, hello, Mostly Software. Welcome to this ASMR stream because I have to be quiet tonight. Contrapoints move the goalposts anyway. Yeah. Hello. Okay.
Hi.
How are you this fine day? I hope the computer will not overheat when I connect the. What do you call it? You know how I call it. I call it. You know what it's called, right? The something capture card. Yes, capture card. Why didn't you remind me what it was called, Dr. Jones? Why are you being a bully again?
Because you're so quiet.
I am being considerate, okay? Therefore, Philip August says, from Kamala can't win without improving on Gaza to Gaza was the one thing that changed the election.
Has Brianna Joy Gray brought up forced to vote yet?
Sorry, what?
Has Brianna Joy Gray brought up forced to vote yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, I know it's taken a lot of effort
How can you be
on her part.
How can you be quiet while watching Brianna Joy Gray? I mean, I have to be quiet because I have to be considerate of the physical, real space that I'm in. Do you want to jump into Resident Evil or do you want to watch this with me for a bit?
I guess it depends if you want to get to Resident Evil tonight.
How much time do you have?
Probably maybe an hour or two.
An hour or two? Okay, we'll play Resident Evil tomorrow and we'll just react to the video now. An hour or two is not enough to get into Resident Evil.
Sorry, I'm the Resident Evil 5 guy now, apparently.
What, who Who's ordering you to play Resident Evil 5?
Another friend of mine.
Oh gosh. Do you play as Sheva or as Chris?
I'm Sheva this time.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna share the thing with you, okay? Ready? Share screen.
It should be fun because I've been paying attention the entire time.
We're gonna double team this, okay? Can you see it?
Yep.
Alright. My guest is Dr. Jones. Also, you should from time to time tell people to go to lucyhaza.org/live and donate slash subscribe. So I have a question. Wait, what state do you live in? Is that's not a big faux pas for me to ask?
What's the Illinois?
Okay. Has lead ever been a problem in Illinois housing?
Probably not.
Yeah, really?
I mean, like, I got a letter a while back from the city. Basically, it's like, hey, we need you to go into your basement to take a coin, tap on your water supply, and if it like makes a ping ping sound, it means it's lead, and you gotta let us know.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I don't think I have like just like a small copper supply line. So I don't know if it's lead like in the ground or
Is your
whatever, but
apartment old?
yeah.
So it might have lead paint. Have you not considered that it might have lead paint?
Probably. Well, it should be fine as long as I don't start eating the paint chips.
Yeah, but also there's the lead dust that can start floating around.
I already have autism, so
Lead,
all the vaccines.
lead causes worse things than, just getting autism, okay? Pretty sure that lead related symptoms are far more severe than just being on the spectrum.
Well, you can hit the latency of lead poisoning would be the same as probably like the lung cancer.
I'm asking because a new documentary has been released about lead poisoning in Baltimore and how inspectors get paid off by evil landlords in order to lie about their property being lead free.
You know, how's that old saying go? My grandpa full of asbestos, my dad full of lead, me full of microplastics.
No way. Has asbestos been also a big problem in the US?
Well, kind of, yeah. It's one of those things where, like, everybody knew that, like, lead and asbestos were bad in, like, the 20s, but America went ahead and just started using them all because it was cheap.
Yeah. I think lead was used because it was cheap, right?
Yeah. Like, it was in the gasoline, the paint.
Really, I heard that when I didn't hear, I saw it in the documentary, that 30% of 30% apparently of children at some point were affected by lead. 30%? Not insane?
No, I mean, that checks out for America.
Really? You can see violent rate dip after we stopped using leaded gasoline. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you kind of inhale the gasoline as well, right?
yeah, from the exhaust, basically.
Yeah, I actually haven't considered that. I'm gonna link the documentary in the chat. Do you approve of that choice, Dr. Jones?
Yeah.
I'm gonna link it. I think it's worth watching. I'm not a. I'm gonna use my huge platform to promote what I like. Isn't that right, Dr.
All
Jones?
yeah, all 12 of us.
12 is a lot. Okay. So I'm gonna use the power of my platform to share this documentary about lead poisoning in Baltimore. But if enough people in the same building died of lead poisoning, then the landlord would go out of business. So the landlord has an incentive to remove all the lead, so there is no lead poisoning. Well, that apparently is not really true,
Oh, you
because
just get new tenants.
according to this documentary, there are landlords that pay off inspectors to lie that their property is lead free, and it's actually not an insignificant problem. Apparently, it's happening.
Yeah, you
Watch
just
the
basically your tenant just dies, so you just go out and get a new one.
yeah, or just they get uh, infertile, right? It's just infertility. There's, I think, brain damage that happens due to when the child inhales that stuff. It's a problem. It's a big problem. It's not just a problem in the US. There are many countries that have problems with lead, and it's not really a thing that is being talked about. So I feel like documentaries like this are pretty important on the subject because there's not super many of them, right?
Alright, so every city in the country just needs to elect their own Zoram Mamdani to institute like
True.
socialism of holding land slumlords accountable.
Yes. So all of you, please watch it and spread it. I think this is an important conversation to be had. Don't you think so, Dr. Jones?
Yeah. It's like the same way how like Flint, Michigan didn't have clean water for like 5 years.
Right. That's also yeah, I think these things have to be discussed. I think these things have to be shared.
Like I mean, it didn't have clean water like 5 years after everybody forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like far as I know, I think they just finished getting like their water back to drinkable state like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Like it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane to see how just people get away with it. And the person, that's the weirdest part, the person that led to the poisoning of children and many other things will not see a jail cell. There's just 2 years with probation. So there's just nothing, right?
Exactly. It's
They won't
a
go
fine
to,
is the cost of doing business.
just won't go to jail at all, even though they've irreparably destroyed so many people's lives. Insane. That's why there has to be more awareness on this subject, and that's why I'm linking the thing. All right, let's continue watching. You ready to continue?
Yeah, this is gonna be a kind of a weird VOD.
Should I change the title of the stream to watching Contrapoints to get more viewers?
I mean, you might be kind of on the tail end of the Contrapoint hate at this point. Kind of missed the mark on that.
Listen, I'm not a hater. I'm just here to watch a debate. Am I a hater? Dr. Jones, am I a hater?
You hate me.
I don't hate you. What? Social Access. I have 8 tracks on upcoming documentary on not desk support. They're all 8 today. Amazing how a bit of organizing can make everything so much easier in terms of putting things together. That's true. Okay, let's not over monsterize Contrapoints. Isn't that right, Dr. Jones?
Sure.
There you go. Let's be humane. Let's be good people. Are you a good person, Dr. Jones?
Yeah, now's not the time for left in fighting.
True. Okay, let's continue.
More electable to the broader public.
You can hear it and see it, right?
Yep.
Because nobody supported at that stage. Very few people. The polls were already overwhelmingly.
Okay, Dr. Jones, what do you think were the main factors of Kamala Harris not winning the election?
She had like what 6 months to put together a campaign because they had to pry Joe Biden's like cold, almost dead hands from the Resolute desk,
That was
and then at the
definitely,
same time too,
definitely a
Gaza.
factor. Right. They've mentioned Gaza being a factor.
Yeah, because as it turned out later that they were lying about trying to get a ceasefire.
Mm. Do you feel like there are any more factors that contributed to Kamala Harris's?
And then at the same time too, like Tim Walz was, making waves with people, and they immediately like locked him in a closet and paraded out Liz fucking Cheney.
What the fuck? Campaign
I
with
don't know if anybody remembers that. Yeah, like Tim Walz was actually getting kind of the young man's vote just by being a relatable guy and be like, why the fuck are these people so weird?
God.
Yeah, and then like I said, he was starting to kind of get a little bit too popular, so then they locked him in the closet, and then they prayed out Liz Cheney so Kamala could be like, yeah, I'm gonna reach across the aisle and
Damn.
work with Republicans.
Oh
and then,
no.
and then immediately all Kamala's hype died because the Democrats immediately went back to promising basically Joe Biden too.
That's not good. Well then, Wendell Saxon says either Biden or Harris would have lost no matter what. Also, I think I've seen you here for the first time. I'm feeling like I want to attack you with the regular questions. Is that a good idea, Dr. Jones?
Yeah,
Hello.
you gotta do your thing.
Hello, new viewer. Have you been here before? How have you found this stream, and what other streamers do you watch? I have a micro enough audience that I can ask people on an individual basis that. From the end of the pandemic until Trump's second inauguration, incumbents lost all around the world except for Mexico. But Harris made a bunch of mistakes. Okay, that's fair, I guess. I heard of you from TTBN. Wait, what is TTBN? What is TTBN? Dr. Jones, do you know TTBN?
I was gonna say, what the fuck is that too?
I have not heard of TTBN. I'm mostly
Is that
gaming
the guy you went
streamer.
on is that the guy you went on to stream with that one time to do like the video game movie tier?
No, that's a different
bracket thing?
person. It's a different person. Wait, is TTBN an abbreviation? What's the long version? I don't believe Kanaloka have one. That hate the anti-woke outrage farmers. Gamings, can you link their what is their channel name? Let's look them up.
They can't leak it unless they're modded.
What's their channel name? TTBN? Is that their channel name? I've never heard of them.
PTBN Gaming, interesting.
And they've mentioned me? How do they know me?
Aspen Gold already off to.
They have 8,037 subscribers. I don't think I've ever heard of this person. Have I ever? That's interesting. And they've mentioned me on stream, have they?
Is that fucking Anita Sarkeesian?
Has Lucy turned into GLaDOS or something? Must be the new mic. I'm using an old microphone. I'm just being quiet because I'm not alone in this space and I don't want to wake anybody up. I'm being cautious of my environment tonight. Oh no, I'm not saying it's an insult. I'm just saying that there's a reason why I'm quiet tonight.
This is gonna start saying like I'm fat and I have no parents pretty soon.
What? It's interesting that the DBN gaming person
I'm
mentioned
the
me.
Wheatley to Lucy's Gladys.
What is a GLaDOS?
Portal?
It's a Portal character?
Yeah. She's like the main villain of the Portal series, Lucy. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
I've never played Portal. We haven't gotten
What
to
the
it yet.
fuck?
Don't be mad. Don't be angry. Let's see this.
You're really trying to make me like lose my shit right now.
Anita Sarkeesian.
This person has mentioned
He's
me.
blowing.
How does this person know me? It's very interesting. I'm very curious. This person has apparently mentioned me on stream.
What's the video title? Because everything's in Polish.
Obsession. The obsession over Anita Sarkeesian is sick, which I kind of agree. Yeah. I should check this content creator out if they have endorsed me in some way. What games do they play? Interesting. I've never heard of this channel. Sorry?
Yeah, I was gonna say you might have to go into a live thing and see what kind of games they play.
Yeah. That's a good... I don't see any games of theirs. Life is Strange. Life is Strange.
You know, it must be nice
Gotham
when you can get
Knights.
like big enough audience. You don't have to title like your streams to anything.
No, there are titles. Like Life is Strange.
Like explain like what it is you're doing, because you just know your audience is gonna show up for whatever.
Listen, I have an audience that will show up to my whatever. Okay, let's continue watching this for a bit.
Okay, we derailed this segment enough.
Yeah.
Poor fake Alec Parker is gonna have to figure out how to salvage this somehow in the editing.
It's okay. I'm gonna make timestamps for him. Also, yes. I have a pretty...
How do we get the 20 minutes of lead paint discussion?
Listen, it's an important discussion and I have linked the documentary, so I'm glad that I did that. Wait, how long did we talk about the lead thing? Just a few minutes.
This is gonna be more fun because I haven't been watching it since the start, so everything is new to me.
Okay, but you know, I have a pretty small audience, but I have a pretty dedicated audience as well, so wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you say that I'm your favorite viewer, so yes. And I'd probably say that's actually more of a sad commentary in itself.
Sad commentary. You should cherish yourself more. You should be more, what do you call it in English? You should believe in yourself more. You should have confidence in yourself. Thank you, Transform. Okay, let's continue watching this.
In favor of
No,
ending
don't
support
do
for
Amtrak like that, Transform.
Sorry?
It's derailed like Amtrak. No, it's derailed like Norfolk Southern. We just Chernobyl, the small town in Ohio. In this
Yes.
household, Amtrak is a goddamn hero.
All right, let's continue.
Netanyahu's government. And the choice was made by the Democratic Party, not people like me, to choose an alliance with Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel and its genocide over winning an election. And Donald Trump, who also obviously is a genocidal candidate, at least had the sort of political savvy, to try to blur the lines and lie to the public about being a quote unquote anti-war public. And if you ask a lot of voters,
Yeah, Donald Trump lied about not doing any new wars, and how did that pan out?
That's what
Anya,
you get for believing.
yeah, I'll call you Anya. That's what you can get for believing Trump. Yeah, no new wars. Good luck. Fuck me. He was gonna end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours as well. How did that pan out?
will say, I know that Trump was lying.
Yeah.
We're what, week 5 of our yeah, we're like what, a month or two into our 1 week special military operation in Iran.
Also, we're
Unless
still in air siren mode in Ukraine. A high-rise building is on fire in Kyiv. Oh, okay. I didn't hear an explosion, but it seems like, yeah, Kyiv is being attacked by drones.
I was gonna say, what do you think is the worst way to die? Middle of playing Resident Evil 6 or reacting to Brianna Joy Gray?
I think I'd rather be playing Resident Evil 6 because at least then I would know that I die having fun with you. There you go. I would die practicing friendship, so I think I'd rather play Resident Evil 6. That's my answer.
You just steal my cold dead heart, Lucy.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue watching the video then.
To me, I know he wasn't anti-war, but at least it wasn't as in my face as someone like Kamala Harris saying we're going to have the most lethal army and we're not going to break from Benjamin Netanyahu and I'm not going to break from Biden and his policy.
I always thought that the comment we're going to have the most lethal army is a bit silly because as opposed to what? A non-lethal army? Right? Like the United States, when has the United States not had the most lethal army to begin with? Let's start with that. Like we're gonna have the most lethal army? As if it was not that already? Right?
Yeah.
In my face. I think it's silly.
So I guess I think that I sort of don't really see it as a very strong message that has been sent to the Democrats that they lost this election, considering that Donald Trump won, a candidate who is more unconditionally fanatical.
Their autopsy report then?
Sorry, can you repeat?
I was mentioning, just fuck.
Yeah.
I was going to say, why don't the Democrats release their autopsy report if it wasn't on that? Like, you had the fucking Pod Save America, like the Pod Save bros talking to like the head of the DNC, be like, what the fuck, man? And they're like, those guys, this whole shtick is just imagine if Obama did all of this.
All right, let's continue watching.
Okay, continue.
This is going well.
And his allegiance to Israel, right? And who is even more like, who has like gone further than the Democrats, who has like banned all funding for, UN aid and relief to Palestinian refugees, and who was like threatening to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just Why people voted for Trump is an entirely different topic altogether. It's insane, but
Deport people
Well,
for
Biden did
protesting.
that.
Biden did what?
Biden cut UNRWA funding. That happened under Biden in like spring of 2024, right?
He didn't cut all of it.
Israel claimed that there were 4 Hamas terrorists in UNRWA, and as a consequence, all UNRWA funding was cut, and that's when the humanitarian crisis really amplified, as opposed to the starvation, the what do you call it, collective punishment really amplified, right? So I take your point.
That's a factual question. I'll have to look.
I'm pretty confident about that because I was having to report on this on a daily basis on Rising before. To be clear, I was fired because of that exact kind of reporting, right? Reporting on the facts of what was happening in America's lockstep and enabling of Israel's genocide. But the bigger point I would say is this. I can readily concede that there are many ways in which Trump is worse than Biden, obviously, and that Republicans generally are worse than Democrats. I think the question, people in my who share my politics have.
I'm still disappointed in America that they voted for Trump. I'm still not happy about that, Dr. Jones. What's happening? What's happening with America that Trump won the election?
I don't know. I think I remember somebody mentioned a long time ago that Americans are basically like unsupervised kindergarteners that need constant supervision. They're well intentioned, but they need desperately of supervision.
Oh my goodness! I still remember the election night. God damn! As it was unraveling, it was all going to shit bit by bit.
I know. I was there, right there with you. Like, were we in the general chat or something? As I was telling you, like after Trump won, I'm like, something after. I'm like, yeah, I was hanging out with Lucy in the giggle court because nobody should watch the downfall of America alone.
Yeah, it was.
Even though like you're halfway around the world and I'm in the middle of it, and I'm comforting you on the fact that my country's on fire right now.
Yeah, it's goddamn. I remember that
I
election
mean,
night.
you got at least a few more years before like Poland gets dragged into something.
If we're lucky. If we're lucky, what? Maybe under Donald, I was so angry at the time. I don't know. I was on the verge of tears, to be honest, more than angry. God damn, what an election. Okay, let's continue. Let's not fall into depression.
I have crippling
Have the
depression.
feeling-
But it was something else, like to see the whole thing unravel in real time during the election. Like to tracking which state voted how, etc. Right? How the map.
I had I was refreshing the map, and then like the minute
that's
turned red, I'm like,
me.
well, fuck.
Yeah, that was Jesus Christ. It's like they're just looking up in real time what the state situations got. Anya says, I'm worried about Confederacja rising. Which one? You have 2 Confederacjas. You had 2 Confederacy parties in Poland, one less radical and one which is the lunatic one. Okay, let's continue. What happened, Zoshelix? You added me. Supreme Court recently tore up the Voter Rights Act for Black. Oh yeah, yeah. I probably should. I'm not sure if I'm gonna cover all that tonight. Maybe I'm gonna have to cover political things tomorrow.
Oh, that's a fun one.
But definitely we're gonna be talking about that. Yeah.
I mean, what happened to the politics channel? Isn't it supposed to be like for slop?
No, I kind of decided that I will stream everything here. I will just change the layout for politics, and I will upload segments that are political to that other channel and slap here.
Okay, that works.
because it's kind of inconvenient
That
to
makes
switch channels for streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, just basically turn it into a clips channel. That probably will work better.
Yeah, I'm gonna stream everything on this channel and just throw all the political clips segments to that other channel. I think that works. It's just because it was just a mess to switch streaming from one channel to the other. It's just I have to make it less chaotic, right?
My God, she's learning.
Who, me?
Yes. Clever girl.
Thanks. Okay, let's continue. Thank you. I see like you should donate as praise and as a reward.
I'm donating my time and my sleep schedule.
Fair. The gerrymandering is gonna be so bad now. This might be the last time Dems get the house. I mean, what do you mean the gerrymandering is gonna be so bad? It already is. There's been gerrymandering wars going on within the last few days as we speak. What do you mean? What do you mean it's gonna be so bad?
That's what I'm saying. I can't wait for the Democrats to fumble the last election we'll ever have.
Isn't Obama openly calling for the gerrymandering wars? For the Democrats to engage in the gerrymandering wars?
Yeah, but it's not okay when they do it, apparently. That's what we've established in Virginia.
God, this oh man,
See,
the
when-
United
when
States
they
is
have-
turning into such a mess. I mean, turning like goddamn. Like, okay,
I
let's.
mean, it was always a mess, but now everything, you can't ignore it.
Yeah, you.
No, you still probably can't ignore it, but
No, I don't think any of us can ignore it anymore. Okay, let's continue watching the thing.
That one party being worse than the other is an
Ozo Shalek says, but you've got to learn from the lesson, John. Courtesy of Ken. God.
insufficient reason to vote for the lesser of two evils when there is enormous latitude for the better party to simply stop being evil. And that the big trick of liberalism is convincing folks that you have to be at least a little bit evil in order to win, even when the opposite is true. Even when supporting Medicare for all makes you more electable, even when supporting Palestinian rights makes you more electable. Democrats are making choices not, in fact, based on electability, but based on what their corporate donor base wants them to do. And if we ever want both parties to stop slipping more and more in that direction, and for there to be any red
I just found a new place that I might visit in Kyiv. A kitchen that produces food for soldiers. I might actually visit them and talk to them.
there you go. You get more interviews for the other channel you've abandoned.
I've not abandoned. It's not quick to make. Jesus Christ. You're being mean. You're being a bully. I don't know what I've done to you. Okay, let's continue
You
watching.
make me play a Resident Evil 6 with you. That's what.
It's a good game.
I'm just salty because I have to go back and play that game all over again too when I finish RE5 with my friend.
Listen, the fact is that Fake Cal Parker told me that his two favorite Resident Evils are 5 and 6, okay? Got him. Got him. Socialix, wait, is Contrapoints coming around to the left? That slipped under my radar. Maybe. We'll see. That would be good.
red lines in the sand, even over something as cataclysmic as a genocide. Somebody has to say, you have to earn my vote at some point in this.
I mean, that's true. I agree with this. That's why Track Ukraine does what it does, right? You have to earn our votes. And by our, I mean Americans' votes, because I cannot vote in the US. By having better policy on Ukraine. Is that fair, Dr. Jones?
I thought we were supposed to vote blue no matter who.
No, you vote blue when it's good on Ukraine. There you go.
So I would turn her question to me back around to you. On what timeline, at what point is there ever going to be a litmus test among liberal Democratic voters that says this is a kind of evil that I will not succumb to, that I will not support with my vote?
I mean, I see the place to litigate that isn't a primary, and I understand the frustration with not having a primary in 2024. But that is the way this ought to work, and the way I expect it to work in 2028. But I think
Do
that
you? You
I
think we're
do.
going to have a fair
Yeah.
primary in 2028?
I think so.
A person that's gonna be good on Ukraine. I wonder if I'm still gonna be here in 2028. That's a depressing thought, isn't it, Dr. Jones? I'm gonna be here in 2028, hiding from drones, because Trump fucked us all up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. Brianna was anti. Oh, Brianna Joy. Brianna Joy Great was anti-Ukraine, huh? That's right, she was. And rolled her eyes at the abduction of Ukrainian children. I actually forgot about that. Jesus Christ almighty. Yeah. You don't have much respect from me if you roll your eyes at the abduction of Ukrainian children, to be honest with you. Especially considering that it's one of my main avenues of that's one of my main topics of reporting. Right?
I mean, so I guess I don't. I'm not as. Again, I think I'm not as impressed as you are by the claim of rigging, which I feel like is a somewhat exaggerated claim for a institutionally backed candidate having a
Brianna Joy Gray's
advantage.
whole shtick was she basically like picked up like all of the disillusioned Bernie busters essentially.
Also, she's transphobic. At least she's not being transphobic to Contrapoints in this discussion. That's good. That is good, at least. Right?
Yeah. I mean, she would more applauding she hasn't brought up Forced to Vote yet. I know that's taken a lot of effort on her part.
Also consider going to lucyhaza.org/live and donating and or subscribing. That is always a choice that you can make, isn't that right, Dr. John?
Yeah.
Especially since we're still in air siren alarm mode. We're still not safe.
Donate to Lucy for free V-Bucks, everybody.
Yeah. So that I can do things like eat food. Also, Fido's running out of food. So if anybody has mercy on Fido, then consider donating so that I can. My brother has been texting me saying that Fido will run out of food in 3 days or something, and that I have to send him more money for Fido's food.
In the arms of an angel.
So consider helping me out by sending me some Fido cash. Thank you. Okay, let's continue.
For as little as $5, YouTube support your local streamers Fido.
Yeah. I can show him on screen for a second. Is that okay? If I show him for a second?
That's you gotta get the sympathy.
That's the dog that he's gonna run out of food in 3 days. This is him.
Look at him. Look at him.
Okay.
Everybody look.
He's a big dog.
Look at this. He's starving, everybody.
Oh, Barry!
Thank you for the $20, Maya Mayor. Thank you. Food for puppy. Thank you. And it's actually true. My brother is texting me saying, I underestimated how much Fido eats and I need more money.
I know.
That is an actual DM that I got from my brother today.
Fido's just depressive eating because you're not there to love him.
It's true. I'm not really hate watching Contrapoints. I'm just watching the debate. I've not actually been hate. I don't hate on people. I hate on arguments. If Contrapoints is going to say something that I disagree with, then I'm gonna point it out.
Oh, Barry!
Thank you for the
No, we're gonna
$10,
watch
Glitch Pasta. How dare your brother use Fido for money? I mean, he's going to buy the food, so.
I mean, we're hate watching Brianna Joy
No,
Gray,
I'm
not
not. I'm not
Contrapoints.
really hate watching. If anything, apparently, Joy Gray is worse because she
You're
said
disappointed watching.
I'm disappointment watching. I just one of the people here in this debate has a history of being anti-Ukraine, and it's not Contrapoints.
That we know of.
No, I actually don't think that Contrapoints would have bad takes on Ukraine. My gut tells me so. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I generally think that probably she does not have a bad thing on Ukraine. Why do you think she'd have a bad thing on Ukraine?
Who knows at this point?
I like Contrapoints. Yeah, she's done some good essays. But she has had some really strange TikTok, Twitter takes.
I
TikTok
don't know
takes.
why she's on Twitter.
Sorry?
She deletes like 70% of the shit she posts.
Yeah. But yeah, I do feel like the
At that point, just use it just to announce to everybody you made your like yearly video essay, and that's it. You don't have to post your opinions.
I do
And then the nanosecond somebody jumps into the replies to slightly disagree with you, you have to burn it all down.
I do feel like the hatred is kind of blown out of proportion, though. Don't you think?
Well, probably.
Like it's not like she's out
high
there.
profile trans person.
It's not like
Yeah.
she's out there advocating for I don't know, God knows what horrible things.
Exactly, polyphonica.
Yeah. I mean,
He's been stewing the Twitter replies for too long.
listen, I still have my big.
And at the same time, too, she's basically building her own escape hatch.
I still have my big conscription thing. This has happened. Oh gosh. Anya says she made good videos and then she kind of became a spite-fueled Twitter person. Just wish she just stayed off social media and just stuck to her videos. What have you missed? You've missed me watching Blair White talking to Destiny. And now I'm watching this with Dr. Johns. You've
For some
also
reason.
missed me do You've also missed me do a short promo for a documentary about lead poisoning in American households. And a short promo for Track Ukraine, an organization. So that's all you've missed. All right.
I think that I also feel like there's some tension between. So you're saying that you don't think that third-party voters or abstaining progressives are the reason why Kamala Harris lost. So in what sense?
Also, I wonder if the lisping on Contrapoints' part is because of actual lisping or because of microphone. Unfortunately, I heard too much from Blair White. What do you think, Dr. Jones?
About what?
Do I have a video essay of hers that spoke to me? of Contrapoints. I think one of the earlier ones. I've only seen the early ones.
I don't think I've actually seen a full Contrapoints video.
There was one about. God, I'm blanking out, but there was one about. Right-wing fear-mongering or something.
I mean, she made like a whole video, like taking down J.K. Rowling, and then spent like the last year on Twitter trying to launder her image again.
I think the J.K. Rowling one was
And
pretty good.
then I think that same J.K. Rowling one had like a whole thing where she was vague posting about fucking Vosh for some reason. It like derailed the video in like the last like 20 minutes of it.
Vouch.
Because it was about the whole. You know, I'm not even gonna get into that stupid bullshit. There's a whole lot bigger things you can criticize Vosh on besides just telling J.K. Rowling, telling J.K. Rowling she's a bitch.
The hunger makes sense. Yeah, it's J.K. Rowling is a whole other topic that we could get into. All right, let's continue.
Is that in Gaza the issue? Because again, it's like if you look at the map, it looks.
Why do you think that Contrapoints is not really used to talking to people live? If that makes sense, does that make sense? Like it's different to have a pre-made content, pre-made videos, and it's different to speak to people live and to formulate your arguments live, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, you should have at least the bare minimum of be able to defend your ideas on the spot.
Yeah, but it's not sometimes in your head you think, oh yeah, I'll do great. I'll just say it how I mean it and it'll go well. And then when the time comes, you get nervous, you stumble on your words, you forget
And
what
then
you
you
wanted to say, right?
then you're
Like
hour-long
it's
video
not
essay.
it's not always that simple. Sometimes you feel pressured, you get nervous. It's not always as smooth as you imagine it in your mind that it's gonna go. You can't really blame people for it, right?
I mean, what I mean is like there's a difference between, just like if someone puts you on the spot on live, and then basically you have to you retract everything you said in your hour-long video essay. Then what's the fucking point in listening to any of your opinions?
I mean, to steal man, to defend. Again, you can get nervous. You can just kind of stumble. You can retract, but you can just kind of feel pressured to do it. And in the moment, you're blanking out, if that makes sense. Does it make sense?
Probably.
Like we're human. We can be a bit lenient. Not everybody's a smooth operator like Lucy Haza, right?
True.
Trans Anya says her expertise is filmmaking, less so being a live streamer. Yeah, I think so. I think she did a few streams with Riley Grace Rochon back in the day. 2020 or 2019. Polyphonica says she kind of comes across as not prepared.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Sorry?
I just remember, the Riley Grace where Contra's just sitting there awkwardly, like thinking, like philosophy tubes like in fucking Star Wars, and I'm being interviewed by the fucking foot fetish lady.
Wait, wasn't Contrapoints interview a recent one?
That was a few years ago.
Like I'm talking about 2000. Like I'm talking about 2019, 20, like before any of that stuff happened. Before the Demon Mama thing, before the before the what's its name? What was the person that RGR debated? Who was that?
Doe?
Doe, yeah, Doe. Before the Doe thing, before the Vosh thing, before the food thing. I'm talking about Contrapoint streams were before all the silly controversies. Polyphonica says, I don't know. I think she could have anticipated some of the questions maybe, but I get her not being equipped for one of the on-the-spot stuff. So much stuff has happened in this community in the last half decade. It's kind of crazy. That was
That's true.
2018. Yeah,
So,
but I do kind of remember them streaming together. Riley, Grace Rochelle, and Contrapoints at some point, and before, definitely, I think my father was still alive then. It must have been 2020 at least.
And if you look at, how many votes Jill Stein got, less than 1%, versus the like significant electoral college and popular vote victory of Donald Trump, it looks too,
I
like,
think they did the math of it. Even
Sorry?
if you added in all the Jill Stein voters, Kamala still would have lost, like, epically.
There were multiple factors. Like there's.
I'm saying, like, the Jill Stein didn't do shit to, like, split the vote or anything. Like, it was
Yeah.
inconsequential. Like, Kamala still lost even if all the Jill Stein voters went to her.
It's a messy election.
it looks like voters shifted to the right, in other words. And so,
Why do you
like,
say that?
well, because
On what?
because Kamala Harris didn't lose to a huge amount of voters turning third party. She lost to people turning to Donald Trump.
And people staying home. So take the Muslim vote, for example.
Okay.
I think about 50% of Muslim Americans voted Republican and the other half voted Green.
Yes.
Because of Gaza.
Yes.
Right? So, you can sit here and have a debate about the wisdom of voting for Donald Trump when he was going to be worse. But when I say it's not on the voters, it's because there is enormous latitude for Kamala Harris to simply say, you know what, there's a genocide, you're right. Benjamin Netanyahu is unpopular. His government is unpopular even within Israel. I stand with, I will not support sending weapons and arms to Israel.
Sorry?
Ask for a ceasefire.
I don't know if
It was
50%
literally-
of Muslim voters voted.
They couldn't even do the bare minimum.
I mean, we can just Google it.
Yeah, like they couldn't even bother. It's like just saying, starting a ceasefire. I was like, Israel has the right to defend itself no matter what.
Muslim voters voted third party in 2024. Right? We can just easily check it. Not a problem. We're gonna ask AI. I don't think, appealing to the right is a losing strategy, definitely. In the 2024 United States presidential election, between 12% and 53% of vote, that's a pretty big discrepancy between 12 and 53% voter cast their ballots on third-party candidates, depending on specific survey. A sharp historic surge, largely driven by dissatisfaction with the major parties' policies regarding the war in Gaza. Gaza was a big thing.
Ceasefire
Lucy,
now.
an entire town in Utah just probably lost her drinking water thanks to that.
Thanks. Nice.
And she could have won.
I mean,
right? So
why
why
not?
not?
Utah probably about to lose electricity because of that data center.
It is what it is, okay? It is out there to use, so I'm gonna use it, even if our planet will burn for it.
To be true, doesn't it have to be the case that she lost the election because of protest voters or abstainers, as opposed to
Yeah,
towards the
what I'm
right.
trying to argue is that one, Jill Stein voters, as you point out, are not the one.
I bet the air defense is working loudly against drones, but I will admit that I cannot hear anything from here.
We have the minion squad defending you, as we learned. The VR minions defending with shotgun drones.
Wait, what do you mean hypocrite? What am I a hypocrite on? What do you mean, Maya Mayor? This just froze a family for rural Alaska because of that prompt. Listen. What can I say? Except you're welcome. Okay.
Ones. But
Yeah.
people who chose to stay home or vote for Trump, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, definitionally you lose because some quantity of voters that voted for your team before either stayed home or went to the other side. And my argument is that those voters could easily have.
Also, Ukraine is very popular among American people, isn't it? Dr. Jones?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so being pro Ukraine would be a good move, but it didn't kind of, I don't know.
Have been kept in the pen. Now, to be clear, my personal politics are, I don't think they should go back to the Democratic Party. I don't think anybody should go back to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Democratic strategist, if I'm Kamala Harris, I don't get to argue that I was entitled to those votes that I easily could have gotten by simply changing my position to a more popular.
Thank you, Income.
One. It's almost akin to saying, if I'm Kamala Harris and I come out on stage and decide to say, I hate everybody who lives west of the Mississippi. If you live west of the Mississippi, I do not want you to vote for me. If you live west of the Mississippi, we're going to bomb you and kill you. And then election day comes and she's like, gosh, man, it's really unfair that I lost the election because I antagonized everybody west of the Mississippi. Like, it was the electable position for her to take, and she declined to take it. So at what point do we hold politicians accountable?
She couldn't even bother to be like, yeah, I'm just going to ask for at least a ceasefire. No, she was like, no, like, Israel has the right to defend itself against all those school children and journalists.
Yeah, that was a mess. It was definitely a messy situation. Hold on, I'll have to do something real quick, okay? I'll be right back. Entertain the audience when I'm doing this thing, okay?
Fucking how?
With your humor and stuff. I'll be right back.
What humor? Oh, how was everybody's weekend? What are the oranges for? Oh, you poor fuck, Zoshilix. But yeah, because the fucking Democrats have ceded all of like pro-Palestine to the fucking Nazis at this point, so and that's why the linking of Zionism with Judaism is why that's anti-Semitic inherently too.
Well, did you just say Judaism sucks? Did I just hear you say that? Dr. Jones, that's very not good of you.
Yeah, that's why you're not supposed to leave me alone.
Read a bit on Sunday? Wait. Did you tell me to read a book on Sunday, or should I read something on the creator?
This is a fucking quarter reading thing about how was your weekend to get chat going. What are the oranges for? Please buy my coffee.
Coffee, brand coffee. Me. Okay, let's continue.
For choosing to throw an election rather than to modify America's relationship with the genocidal country?
So I think there's two questions here, right? Like one is whose fault is it that she lost? Kind of a descriptive question, and then the other is should we have advocated that she lose? A more of a normative question. So like the descriptive question, like I think the blame for why an election turns out the way it does is always going to be widely distributed, right? And like of course some fault is on Biden and on Kamala Harris. Like I do think that I would agree with the criticism that the Biden administration failed to they did not have the agility to respond to the situation in Gaza by breaking from decades of bipartisan consensus that Israel's our closest ally and blah 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 blah, right? Like they did not have the agility to read the situation and change. Like
what do
I
you mean
agree
by
with that.
What do you mean they
Well,
didn't have the agility?
I mean that they acted in a way that was
They shouldn't. They should have done it, but didn't do it. That's basically what.
consistent with how American foreign policy has been for decades, as opposed to recognizing that this situation demanded a kind of break from that.
Well, yes and no, right? Because there are these.
Yeah.
I broadly know what you're saying, and I'm not trying to be so nitpicky, but there are these.
Consider a ceasefire.
Sorry.
I said they couldn't even. I was saying they can't even do the bare minimum. I've been just saying, maybe there should be a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Or, no, it
that's-
was, Israel can do whatever the fuck it wants, essentially.
That was not good. The whole rhetoric around
And then there was the whole
Israel
thing
was
too
not-
about how they were saying that Joe Biden was working on trying to get a ceasefire, but then it came out that no, they didn't even called Netanyahu to stop.
And then there was this whole the Democratic thing with Kamala when there were representatives, Palestinian representatives that wanted to speak on stage or something, and they were not let on. Right? Remember that?
I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
That
were
was
shutting down
considered-
anybody that was
That was considered
pro
a big.
Palestine.
That was considered a big faux pas that no Palestinians were let on stage to talk about the issue. Yeah.
Moments where American presidents, Reagan famously, has picked up the phone and said, "Israel, you have to stop bombing Lebanon. This is a bridge too far," and they stop. Right? They understand that their ability to exist is contingent on U.S. aid. Right? Okay.
Yeah,
so we
I
do
agree.
have the
I
power
agree
to
that
control.
it is a failure of the Biden administration. They should have been far more aggressive in conditioning aid. I agree.
Yeah.
Or conditioning it at all. To be clear, they didn't condition. They violated American law in not conditioning aid at all to Israel.
But I won't get into saying why I think Trump is still worse, which I do think he is. But I think the second question is still should people have?
I think we all can agree that Trump is the worst, right? I don't think that's a debate that's happening anywhere, right?
Because you're not just saying that it's the Kamala Harris's fault that she lost. You're also saying that you think that she should have lost. You want her to have lost, and you advocated.
That's a separate argument. That I was trying to be transparent about my own policy.
Okay, that's wanting for Kamala Harris to lose that's just stupid. Okay, can I agree that that's stupid? Wanting Kamala Harris to lose against Trump.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I'll vote for Trump. That will show those Democrats about not.
Like, come on, that's just stupid.
I mean, if someone actually did that, do not take that person seriously ever on anything ever again.
Yeah, it's just I cannot treat this kind of attitude seriously. Oh, I want Kamala Harris to lose. Well, thanks.
You treat those people like a tanky or a commie boo.
Yeah. Gatorade. I heard Trump just raised a golden statue of himself somewhere and had people pray
yeah.
over it and concentrate. Of course.
Yeah, and he painted the reflecting pool in DC blue, and now everybody's just waiting for that thing just to turn like gangrene.
Ah, God. This is where we are now, aren't we? This
Dude,
is our
it's
new
literally
reality that we
like
have to live with. Fuck me.
the whole statue thing's been funny too, because everybody's like, "Yo, isn't there like a fucking like part in the Bible that says you're not supposed to do this?" There's like a whole thing.
Yeah, because Trump is such a religious man, right?
Exactly. Gotta love those evangelicals.
Trump is such a God-loving guy.
Politics, which I recognize
Right.
are more radical than most. So I don't
Please,
really
God,
want to.
let the
I mean,
Pope,
we
like,
can, but it's a bit of a
excommunicate
side
JD
quest. It's like
Vance.
me
That'd be the most
litigating.
hilarious thing ever.
Sorry, can you repeat?
I said, please, God, like if anything, like I'll go back to church if you have the Pope excommunicate JD Vance live on television. Please.
Golden
The
Trump.
most- I swear to I won't wait until I get cancer to come back to
I
church.
think there's a tweet that I've got somewhere about this that compares the Trump statue to some other statue. Which one was it?
Dude, didn't like them the boys do
Saddam
it,
Hussein.
like, whole
Saddam
church.
Hussein. Saddam Hussein. That's the one. There you go.
Trump's not gonna pull out like the fucking like solid gold like Luger.
I got the tweet right
Unfortunately.
here. I'm gonna show it. Because they are remarkably similar, actually, unironically. From dictator to leader, can you see it on screen? Saddam Hussein, Baghdad, Iraq, 2002. Donald Trump, West Palm Beach, Florida, 2020. What the hell? Like, come on, you gotta admit that the similarity is pretty uncanny, right? Don't you think?
I mean, at least Saddam was, had enough class not to make it gold.
But fuck me, the identical pose. Oh.
I mean, I was gonna say is the little bit I know about Saddam Hussein, all of it is just hilarious.
Alright, let's continue watching the video.
That like I'm
Yeah.
anti-circumcision, nobody really
Fun
cares.
over
Like it's
now,
not
back
really the
to-
point.
Sorry?
Bullshit. I said we've had our fun. Now we have to go back to this.
True.
Of this,
Well, I don't think it's a side quest at all. Like I think like advocating to abstain or to vote third party, that to me is the issue.
well, no, because there's a difference between me, who has more of a radical or like has a much more pessimistic.
I think it's very much okay to leverage your power to push candidates in a certain directions. And
That's
let
the whole
them know
point of
that, yeah, and let them know that if they don't do it, then you will just vote for someone else. Someone else
that's
who will
how
do it.
fucking democracy is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Belief about the Democratic Party and its ability to be saved, and who frankly thinks we should just get to it and focus the bulk of our efforts towards starting something, growing the Green Party or PSL or whatever third party we as a community want to invest in. And what I think is the more accessible argument that I think liberals need to engage with, which is, do you want the Democratic Party to represent your interests? Do you want it to be a populist in the meaning of a kind of a majoritarian populist party that is therefore more electable because it is advancing popular policy items, right? That include not supporting endless wars, including not supporting genocide, include supporting Medicare for all, et cetera. And if you as a regular, mostly normie Democrat who supports those things, like 88% of Democrats who support Medicare for all, I think it's absolutely your obligation to say that I'm not going to give you my vote It makes no sense when 88% of Democrats and almost half of Republicans support Medicare for all for you to be putting up even a single candidate in a presidential cycle who does not support Medicare for all. But that's exactly what we get every time. And it's an independent like Bernie who'll come along and be the one guy in the room who's willing to advocate for the obviously popular and electable thing.
Like
And if we're
Obamacare
having an
was supposed
electability
to be
conversation
Medicare for
fundamentally,
all, but
Sorry, can you repeat?
I was saying Obamacare was supposed to have been like Medicare for all, essentially, like on paper. But by the time it actually got into the thing, it was stripped of like everything, well, value, just so they could fucking pass it.
Hmm.
Like the original plan for Obamacare was basically like an almost like Medicare for a buy-in Medicare for all situation, but like they had to strip out like
you know,
all the good parts of it, and then just basically made a watered down.
yeah.
Wherever the fuck we got, well, it doesn't matter now because it's basically dead, isn't it?
Hmm. Oh, it is what it is. Not true, Jones. It was more of a public option. See, you're not right, Dr. Jones. Closer to French model. Well, there was still something.
and a how to beat Trump conversation fundamentally, or
I mean,
JD
anything's
Vance or
better than
Tucker
what we have
Carlson.
now.
Sorry?
I said anything's better than what we have now. I'm just gonna say I have United, and I'm I am fully aware why that guy got shot. I'm a card carrying United Health member, so I can definitely.
Oh, you're a
I
customer
just
of that
gotta go-
company?
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
you know, I got a fucking letter for them from when I got my wisdom teeth pulled because I went full sedation instead of local because I'm like I did local anesthesia for my last 2 wisdom teeth, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing the blindfold blitzkrieg method again, knock me the fuck out. And then I get a letter saying, yeah, we're not covering any of that because did you really need to be sedated for that?
Yes. But if you got a doctor's notes that would say that yes, you needed it.
I haven't been to a doctor in 7 years.
I mean, considering your health situation in the United States, no wonder.
I haven't been to a doctor since basically I lost my insurance from my parents. Because like I think like I'm basically paying out of pocket for my dentist because my dentist is out of network. But I'm like I've been going to this lady for 10 years. I'm not changing now.
Yeah.
Because the nearest dentist is like 3 hours away. That's in network.
Right. All right, though, let's continue a little bit.
Okay, rant over. We can continue.
Whoever it is that comes down the transom, then why wouldn't you enthusiastically be saying, oh my gosh, yes, we have to push these people into the electable position?
I still feel that it's like a bit evasive that you're trying to. Well, so you're arguing that we ought to the blame for Kamala Harris losing ought to be on Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but you're also
And the Democratic Party broadly.
and the Democratic Party, but you also do not support that people vote for them. So it's like it seems.
Well, let me be clear. Let me be
You're
clear.
saying it's their fault that they lost, but you also
I
wanted them to lose.
I see the disconnect. My belief that we should abandon the Democratic Party altogether.
Anya says, fun fact, Lucy, I was diagnosed with a rare 1 out of a billion lung disease, and insurance called for a pre-existing condition and would let me die. We had to fight them so much. Damn. That is pretty insane.
My favorite stories were the United people were calling the surgeon out of surgery, telling her to cancel the surgery because they weren't going to cover it. And it's like she's on the table right now. Like I just made the first cut. What the fuck do you mean to stop? She'd like, what do you mean? You know, like I'm not supposed to remove the tumor in her boob.
Jesus Christ Almighty. Why am I?
Yeah, and then they tried to sue that surgeon for making a call-out post about it.
Jesus fuck. I can't live on my own, in part because many people will take me to the emergency room when I don't have insurance. Oof. That is rough. The United States is rough. I was 12-year-olds at the time, says Anya.
Becomes from my observation that pushing them doesn't work.
God, like, I have to pay like
So
I think
I look
$500
if
for
people
ER. Hold on, I know it's like $100 for urgent care. If I want to be seen at an urgent care facility, oh, where's my thing? Fuck, where are you?
Helsin Pharma says it was watered down and they passed it with no Republican votes anyway because none of the Republicans voted for it. Hello,
No,
Helsin
it's
Pharma.
I have to pay. I have
Thank
to
you for
shell out
being on
$250
Twitch.
to be seen at an ER.
But yes, Helsin Pharma agrees with you on the topic of Obamacare.
People tried to push them and it worked, then my priors would be invalidated and I'd have to be open to the idea of working within the party again, right? And I might have an evolution back to the center hypothetically. But the reason I personally, through my proximity to the Bernie campaign and following politics over the last 5 years and witnessing what Biden did with his trifecta for the first 2 years, his disinterest in shoring up the Supreme Court, packing the Supreme Court, doing any kind of real Supreme Court reform, even as the leaked memo that Roe was about to get overturned came out, all of that, the Build Back Better, bifurcation.
Also, I still have not been able to get back on HRT, just saying. I'm also have to get some money for that.
The abandonment of the $15 minimum wage, all of those things have led me to the conclusion that I happen to hold. But I also acknowledge that other people aren't there yet. And to get to where I am, they have to witness what I've seen. So I would love to see them try to push the party. I suspect that they will fail and that they will come around to my side. But I do think the obligation is, of course, to push the party. Yeah.
This is sort of what I'm not following, is that you seem to be suggesting that liberals need to be pushing the Democrats left, although you think that is a futile project.
Yeah, I think that it will.
Sorry, can you? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think this is where they were mentioning about how we're just going off the rails. His contra's like, what do you mean that we have to make politicians change their opinions and things?
Great Rain says Lucy wasn't the issue, your doctor more than a lack of money. It was both. If I didn't have problem with money, then I would just go and pay to a different doctor for a visit and get the thing. But I wanted to contact this doctor because I didn't want to go for a paid visit to do it. Because I would DM him and he would be like, okay, here's prescription for your thing. But he has not been responding to me, so I have to get another visit to a blood test. I have to take it to a different doctor, pay, and then get my prescription. So it was both. It's both the doctor and the lack of money.
You're almost an honorary American at this rate, Lucy.
Sorry?
Said you're almost an honorary American at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have to become a better streamer, I guess. All right, let's continue.
Apparently you're making waves somewhere because somebody shouted you out. Apparently, I don't even know if they're still in chat now. I probably scared them off of my personality.
No, it's okay.
It's futile, then why should we do it?
Because it is a way to heighten the contradictions and cause people to have a consciousness about the Democratic Party and who they really are. And it's a consciousness that has started to happen under Bernie Sanders. And it really blossomed because of Gaza. Because so many people who weren't that political or maybe even were right-leaning and were anti-war in a right-leaning way saw what was very obvious, which was that supporting supporting Israel was a losing proposition. And that no amount of warning signs would convince the Democratic Party that they should drop this issue or even pretend to drop the issue in the short term in order to win an election. And that the party fundamentally cared more about Israel than it did about beating Donald Trump. And how can you ask voters to care more about beating Donald Trump than a party who only really uses Trump as a cudgel to advance its corporate and imperialist interests?
Oh, no. This truly sounds like a president that's anti-Ukraine. I wonder if they talk about Ukraine at any point.
I guess it seems to me, though, that, again...
Is there like a script that I can pull up of this?
There might be a transcript.
Is there a transcript
somewhere?
Of this I can
don't
pull
know
up?
if they have it active for this. I think it's like in the options.
Where's they Where can I find the transcript of this?
I think it's in the.
Yeah.
It's in like the what's that called?
There's transcript. Oh yeah. There we go. I
The
can.
description at the bottom.
Okay, let's see if there's any Ukraine. Okay. No, they don't mention Ukraine in this conversation at all.
And what the theory of change that you're suggesting is that presumably a fairly long-term project of bringing about the disintegration of the Democratic Party and the emergence of some kind of new left populist party. I mean, that's what you're suggesting, yeah?
100%. And just the
yeah.
same way as the Republican Party emerged because neither major American party was willing to acknowledge abolitionism as a movement. Right. Right. No one was willing to recognize the abolitionist movement. And so the Republicans emerged because there was half the country that was completely unseen within the political context.
But if that doesn't happen on a reasonable time frame, like if the Democratic Party does not disintegrate, then it seems that what you're advocating is, for us to essentially wind up with like a 50-year MAGA Reich, which.
Well, no, to be clear, the Democrats at any point could choose to win. Right? The Democrats at.
I don't think it's as simple as that, you know? Do you think it's as simple as that? As the Democrats just choosing not to win?
I mean, the Democrats hate holding power, so is that surprising? Every fucking, I know everybody hates it, but it's true. It's the fucking ratchet effect. I think I was arguing with somebody like.
But if that does.
Yeah.
What the fuck was it might have been Riverboat Jack's comments section or something about it, or President Sunday's like commented on somebody because I don't remember what exactly it was, but I'm like, yeah. So I'm almost like, fuck. I wish I could remember it now, but I just remember I'm like, just like, name me one fucking policy that Joe Biden undid that Donald Trump placed. Like he didn't undo any of the tariffs or like any of like the other stuff Donald Trump did in his term. He just kept everything going. And this is basically what's going to fucking happen is if Democrats win somehow in 2028, they're just going to keep all the same shit going. Nothing's going to change, and then everybody's just going to run back to the Republicans.
Yeah. Okay, let's watch some more.
Doesn't happen on a reasonable time frame. Like if the Democratic Party does not disintegrate, then it seems that what you're advocating is, for us to essentially wind up with like a 50-year MAGA Reich, which.
Well, no, to be clear, the Democrats at any point could choose to win. Right? The Democrats at any point could choose to win. All they have to do is say, we're not going to support a genocide. Is that too much to ask?
I guess I'm not convinced that the Democrats will easily win if they simply say we're not going to support a genocide.
Why not?
Because
I'm looking at the poll now. It was 29%.
Donald Trump won perfectly well without making any such concession.
Au contraire, he said he supported a ceasefire. This is my point about how the right is willing to lie about it, and the Democrats won't even pretend to lie about it.
Wasn't Kamala Harris also at least nominally in favor of a ceasefire and a two-state solution?
No, she had to try. Well, the two-state solution is a whole other conversation. That is not really the demand.
Right. Glitchmaster says, the Democrats want to give a giant middle finger to their corporate donors and give meaningful wins for the working class on a New Deal level. Anya says Biden should have reinstated the Iran deal, ended the Title 42, and ended the long. Yeah, it's really interesting that he did not make an effort to reinstall the Iran deal.
Present, but she had tried out AOC at the DNC after precluding.
Yeah, sorry.
Or probably half a dozen other things I can't think of at the moment.
So people should like this stream.
Any Palestinians, pro-Democrat Palestinians, from speaking at the DNC to argue that Kamala Harris was tirelessly fighting for a ceasefire when subsequent biographies, like the Kamala Harris's 107 Days biography in this Alex Thompson, Jake Tapper book, acknowledged that at no point, the reporting is clear, at no point did Joe Biden consider a ceasefire. At no point. And that was a bald-faced lie, right? Which is part of why there's so much frustration with the sort of AOC left. Because here's where my argument continues. That when you do get progressives elected, and I was extremely enthusiastic about AOC. I was there the night reporting on her victory primary that nobody expected her to win. I was there her first day in office when she did the Green New Deal sit-in, and I, very hopeful about what was going to happen with her and the other electeds that were progressives that were elected in the years after. But in truth, the party changes you rather than the other way around. And this dovetails. Sorry, I want to give you a chance to respond, but this dovetails with another, I think, criticism that you make of the left, which is that we don't. What is it? Famously, that you're famously quoted as saying, the left doesn't want power. The left wants to endlessly critique power. And this comes up in critiques of people like AOC and Zoran Mamdani once they get into office. But we can come to that. I want to give you a chance to respond. I've said a lot.
Well, I still don't understand why you think that. Like, why does
Then you spend the next 6 years shitting on everything she did.
Donald Trump not have to do any of these things to get elected that you think that progressives would have to do?
Do what things?
Well, to call for the end of Israel as a Jewish state or whatever.
By the way, I do think that should happen. That's me and my personal politics.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good reason for that, because the maintenance of a Jewish majority in the Arab world requires apartheid. It requires denying Palestinians the right to return. To create a democratic majority, you have to do exactly what Israel's been doing, which is genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid. So that's my view. But to be clear, that is not what I think Kamala Harris had to do to win.
Okay, but so I guess I don't understand why, voters seem to have no trouble electing Donald Trump, this man who has an extremely pro-Israel position, more pro-Israel than the Democratic Party does. Why is he able to get elected without pivoting against Israel? Whereas why is this a condition for the Democrats to succeed?
Because
when Joe
the
Biden
Republicans don't care about Gaza and they just voted for Trump, and the Democratic voters cared enough about Gaza not to vote for Kamala Harris, would be my guess in this case, right?
She did mention about why didn't Joe Biden need to bring up Israel when he was being elected, right? I didn't mishear that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because the whole thing was because Israel wasn't, ramping up, their Holocaust machine in Gaza at the time.
But
It was, Gaza was out of sight, out of mind for basically most of the world until
but just
October 7th.
the Republicans don't really care about Gaza, so
Yeah,
of course
of course
it would not be a deal breaker for
Well,
them.
Republicans care about Israel in the way that because it's supposed to be part of fulfill their
Right.
their death cult
Right.
prophecy.
Yeah. So of course they're not gonna care, right? Of course they're not gonna care in the slightest.
Well,
I feel like what you're saying would make more sense if Jill Stein had gotten 30% of the vote or something. I'd be like, well, okay, that's you have a point there, but that's not what happened, right? It's voters are supporting a further right, more pro-Israel candidate. So it's a little bit hard for me to reconcile.
Okay,
with
so-
I feel like Contrapoints is making a little bit of a mistake here, that there's this big blob of voters that either support this or that, but also voters are just divided into Democratic voters and Republican voters, right? And Republican
Basically.
voters don't care about Gaza in the same way that Democratic ones did, right? Even if Trump is worse on Gaza than Kamala Harris, Trump is not appealing to people that are pro-Gaza. Trump is appealing to his Republican base, which doesn't care, right?
The ones that do care for the wrong reasons.
Right. But,
with the idea that this is the reason why the Democrats can't get elected.
I think for one, it's to punish Joe Biden, under whom this genocide started, and who under whom to date most of the deaths have occurred and most of the infrastructural destruction in Gaza has occurred, right? So it cannot go ignored that while you could anticipate that Donald Trump was going to do more of the same, and should have anticipated that Donald Trump was going to do more of the same, that doesn't justify in the eyes of many voters, including voters whose lives and families have been directly implicated by this genocide, voting for the guy who did it. So if I'm standing there, you know, stabbing you, I don't mean to like conjure violence, but you know, if I'm standing there with a can of gas having burned your house down, and I'm like, vote for me and the other guy is going to burn your house down twice. I mean, you can imagine that you as an individual aren't going to want to vote for me. I just burned your house down.
So I can understand the psychology of that when you're the person whose house is.
Sorry.
Like all Democratic like messaging boils down to the Republicans are bad. They're going to do these bad things unless you vote for us. It's like, yeah, cool. Are you gonna, fix any of the stuff, the bad things they've done before? No, we're just gonna keep everything the way it was.
Yeah.
Like I'm for sure. I was in a fucking Riverboat Jack's comment section about that, where I don't remember what the video was about, but I'm like, Democrats since like 2016, the whole thing has been like, their entire messaging boils down to it's like, vote for us, they're gonna take your abortion rights. Better vote for us, they're taking your abortion rights. Come on, you gotta vote for us. They're taking your vote. Oh, they took your abortion rights. Like, okay, cool. If we give you power, are you gonna bring them back? They're gonna take your voting rights. They're gonna take your voting rights. Better vote for us. They're gonna take your voting rights. They're taking your voting rights right now. Better vote for us. Like, are you gonna do anything to, stop them? No. Like,
Oh well.
Being burned down, but I also sort of don't really see. So I don't understand how like Biden's stance on Israel is being effectively punished by electing someone who's even more pro-Israel.
Well, people are saying you can't win. You're not going to be allowed to win under these conditions. If you want to win an election, Democratic Party,
you have to give people something positive to vote for.
You have to move not even to the left, to the center, so where the majority of the country is and the majority of the world is on Israel.
Exactly what you meant.
Because you understand, Natalie, that like in elections, there's a bunch of people who are always going to be Republican.
The whole thing about like U.S. politics has been like, the Republicans are always, the hungry wolves at the gate, and the Democrats are the shitty wooden door holding them back.
Yeah.
It's like, that's probably another good point too why they fucking lost the last election, because Kamala didn't have any, they just basically keep reusing the fucking Hillary 2016 playbook. They just keep scratching out whoever's name it is, and then it's just Donald Trump's evil. Vote for us.
Yeah.
It's like what's your plan to fix anything wrong with the country? Nothing. Just vote for us because the other guy's evil. He's gonna break everything. Like, okay, well, the next election, are you gonna fix anything that he broke? No, we're just gonna stop him from breaking more stuff.
Yeah, that's basically it. Alright, let's watch a bit more.
There are a bunch of people always
It's like 5:30 almost, so we're gonna watch a bit, and then we're gonna finish stream probably, right?
I'll get extra spicy on this. Really good. Transforum said, like this. I'm just gonna say this all started back in 2008. When fucking Obama bailed out all the banks, but left all the normal people to basically default and drown in debt. That's where this whole thing started from.
No.
That's basically the catalyst of all. I'm just gonna say that. That's my personal opinion. It all happened back in 2008 when fucking everybody lost their homes, and the government basically bailed out all the people that were responsible for it.
Yeah, that is
and let
true.
everybody, all the normal folk, drown.
That is true. It's 2008 financial crisis, I remember. Okay.
I mean, I couldn't.
Gonna be Democrats, and they're
I-
fighting
I-
for this center
It's like,
swing
oh,
group of swing voters.
there's a financial crisis going on. Oh, I hadn't noticed. This is basically my family.
Yes.
And
This is-
anti-war sentiments, along with a lot of other
There's,
sentiments.
Yeah.
So, let me stun lock for a bit. Just look at me, Lucy. I'm the streamer now. I'm the captain.
Okay, we continue the video.
Basically, that is a really fun. He's a really comedian I really like called Josh Johnson. He has a kind of a bit about this, about how like he was talking about like growing up, what it's like to grow up poor and shit. And then like he kind of goes on. He does this thing where he tangents on like a separate story, but then brings that story's tangent back into the main point. So like he's talking about like growing up poor, and all that and life like that. And he talks about how like he was at a party with some of his friends and he got pushed into the pool, and they're walking home after the party and it starts raining. And then his friends are complaining about being all wet, and he's like, "I'm already wet." And he's like, being poor in a recession is a lot like being like falling into a pool and then getting caught in a rainstorm. You don't actually notice the difference.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna derail, you better donate for Fido's food. All right, let's continue.
Okay.
Many of which, frankly, I don't align with, are preponderant among that group, right? And that was a real driving force in the electorate. Among the people that you needed to get to change, Gaza, anti-war, I mean, Trump has been cultivating a sort of anti-war, anti-interventionist personality for a really long time, right? One of the things he bragged about was being a president that started no new wars. Now you can sit here and you can argue with that,
Right.
but like that was something, that was a pitch that he,
But he did say
right.
that, yes.
But that's a pitch that he
He
made.
did say that, even though he became the biggest warmonger, the biggest warmongering to cry and throw a fit over not getting a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, that no war president statement aged like the dead body in my floorboards.
Yeah, the Nobel Peace Prize warmonger president, just comedic.
Made. So this is my point. You say that Trump didn't have to do the things that I'm saying that Biden or Kamala Harris should have done, but he did, and it was a lie. But he did do those things. He presented. He listened to the base and he gave them the message that they want to hear. While
Twitch chat is active. Fancy Informa says, I don't understand how she could possibly need to have it explained to her that the two parties have different supporters. Yeah, I know. It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. This, yeah, it is kind of strange to me. This whole line of.
oh, Barry.
Thank you for the $20, Dr. Jones. Fido found. Thank you.
How many stunlocks does that buy me?
At least one.
Fuck.
I do find it weird that Contrapoints said, "Hey, Biden and Kamala Harris might have been bad on Gaza, but so was Trump, and that didn't hurt him." Well, yeah, that's because his voter base didn't care about that topic. It's strange that needs to be explained, right?
I swear to God, all of this is just ContraPoint crashing out just because the one thing she wakes up every morning and then it realizes she's not philosophy YouTube, and that pisses her the fuck off.
I'm pretty sure ContraPoints is far more popular than Philosophy Tube.
Philosophy Tube has like, I don't know how big, it's probably like 500,000 in Patreon. She has her own website. She's in fucking Star Wars and Game of Thrones. And Contra has a YouTube channel.
I guess Philosophy Tube did better networking IRL. I don't know.
Basically, yeah. And Philosophy Tube already had like, I guess, the acting school to network with.
Right.
She became the big successful trans woman, like, that's also like a closeted Zionist too.
Okay, let's watch some more. Interesting.
Isn't your
Kamala
position
was-
also that
Glitchma says PhilosophyTube makes videos more frequently too. Contra uploads once a year if you're lucky. If you're lucky, huh? I upload a lot of videos. I have to
Yeah,
record. I have to. I've made all the animations for the mini essay. I just have to record voiceover, put it together, and you'll get your first Patreon history thing.
hell yeah.
Yes. I've decided on a pretty innovative visual effect for it. Have I sent you any of it?
No.
Maybe I'll show you an example after stream. Okay. Let's continue for a few more minutes.
But the Democrats lied.
In what
similar
way?
ways. Well, in terms of like, I mean, you've suggested that the Democrats lied about wanting a ceasefire, or
Yes.
lied about
Yes.
conditioning aid.
Yeah, I do. I think they lied less effectively, and I think they lied more minimally. I think when you have one guy lying and
So they
saying, I'm
should
going to
lie,
end the
but
war.
they should lie better.
Well, no, I think that they should tell the truth and cut ties with Israel. But if we're asking who's responsible, who had the power, who the onus was on to actually stop Trump, that clearly was not.
Anya says PhilosophyTube makes regular videos. Contra barely makes content anymore.
Me or any podcaster or any voter or anybody tweeting on Al Gore's internet,
Still
Elon
like a
Musk's
one-woman
internet.
show.
It
Yeah.
was the party.
Also, if you want good content, okay? If you want content that's best of all of them, then go watch that LED documentary. All right? Isn't that right,
And
Dr.
if you want the
Jones?
best- Yeah, if you want the best content, you got to subscribe to Lucia Haze.
Yeah. Or go watch the LED documentary that I've linked today. Lucy, are you sleepy?
watch.
A little bit. It's 5:30 a.m., but it's okay. Let's watch some more.
No, it's 9:30 for me.
Yeah. Also, I've changed locations a little bit, so I'm voting. I'm voting. I'm streaming from a different room. Okay. Let's continue.
Who had the and one last point I would make about this is
Sorry?
We're not even halfway through.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna watch the whole thing. No
I
shot.
don't know if you want to skip in ahead or something, or
I'm sure you've been following what's going on with this DNC autopsy report. Have you? I should say,
Yes,
I'm sure
I
people have
Yes,
lives.
I have. Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that the prevailing theory, which may not be true, but the prevailing theory is that the reason they don't want to, at least the autopsy report, is that it shows exactly what the IMEU study and other studies have shown, which is that the number one issue for Biden 2020 voters that didn't want to vote for Kamala 2024 and didn't vote for Kamala in 2024 was ending Israel's violence in Gaza at 29%, followed by the economy, 24%, Medicare and Social Security at 12%, immigration at 11%, healthcare at 10%, and on down the line. So
I
if
agree
they
that,
release that, the idea is, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
want just to put a fine point on it. The idea is that if the Democratic Party acknowledges and releases that they knew that was the case, then suddenly the onus is very clear, right? Who has the responsibility for losing to Trump is very clear. And the contrast that I think is my mission as a podcaster and a political commentator to demonstrate who the Democratic Party really is and what their priorities really are becomes very obvious to everyone. And I think you do start to get a lot of defections from the party, or at least calls for an enormous overhaul of leadership, et cetera.
Well, so I want them to release the autopsy. I want them to do whatever it takes to get elected. If that means cutting off all aid to Israel, then they should do that. I mean, I think it probably, in reality, is likely wrapped up with a bunch of other issues, like the fact that voters are upset about inflation, or about like vague
Yeah, that was number
concerns
2.
about like maybe my child might encounter a transgender book in schools, and the Democrats are supposed to do something
That
about
wasn't
that
on the
question.
list, by the
yeah.
way. That isn't on this IMEU list at the very least. Nothing.
Well, I hope it's not,
Nothing
but, you know.
cultural. Abortion
Yeah.
policy was number 9, and at 9%, and I don't know was 5%. But nothing about transports, nothing about COVID. A lot of issues that I think folks thought were going to be determinative weren't, at least among these Biden 2020 to Harris 2024 voters.
But can you see how it's like a little bit difficult for me to take your criticisms of what you think the Democrats ought to do to get elected when you're simultaneously saying that people should not elect them. Like your position is that
Why?
people should divest from the Democratic Party. So
Yeah,
like because
because
it's not in your interest for the Democrats to get elected based on your positions, right?
I mean, to steelman the anti-Ukraine person, technically speaking, she could say there's my personal position on what should be done, and then there's my public position, and my public position that those people should be elected, but me personally, I think they shouldn't. Right? Does that make sense? As a steelman? Dr. Jones? Hello?
And what
Does that make sense?
do you?
Okay.
You don't want them
wait,
to
what
win.
do you mean?
Well, you don't want the
No,
Democrats to win, right?
I think in an ideal world, given how hard it's going to be and how hard it already is for so many people, in an ideal world, I mean, I worked for Bernie for this reason. In an
Yes.
ideal world, a social democrat like Bernie Sanders gets elected. We get universal health care, a basic
I don't
social
like that the anti-Ukraine person looks stronger in the conversation. To be honest.
Although you can still see, I think, Contra in like the background or something when they cut over.
democrat
So they
safety
kinda,
net,
like,
Huh.
free
see
education,
Contra moving around
and
in
That is kind of funny.
the corner there.
That is kind of funny.
our little capitalist kingdom
You
gets to
ever got
tip along for another
Yeah,
100
is-
Joy Grace
that
got
is
a
very
flashbang you with her
strange.
face.
That is very strange editing, I will admit.
years and save a lot of people from immiseration. I think that's what I was working for, along with so many other people in 2020. But what I
But
learned
your
was
current
how
position,
unlikely that is.
yeah.
What I
Your-
learned from
yeah.
experience. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, your current position though is that people should divest from the Democratic Party. Like, isn't this sort of an energetic drain at minimum on the enthusiasm that it takes to be able to win elections?
How so?
Well, I mean, it seems that you're using your platform to encourage people to abstain or to vote third party or to sort of in general just give up on the Democrats. Doesn't that, like, my experience is that in 2024 it was very difficult to advocate for Kamala Harris in public with a leftist audience because of the extreme
Genocide.
push, the
Yeah.
genocide
Oh,
allegations, yes,
Contra
that you
agreed
would
to this
then be accused of.
Sorry, what did you say?
No, I was gonna say someone was mentioning about like they don't know why Contra agreed to this because she woke up one day and decided she's now gonna be a fucking debate lord.
Glitch must have
She's been
said,
like e-begging. Yeah, she's been fucking on Twitter e-begging to debate fucking Hassan for some reason now.
Right.
Because like I guess she's trying to salvage, I guess, what's left of her career now. Cause she's basically alienated like a good chunk of her audience.
interesting. Glitch Master says, don't worry, Contra Dems have no problems draining energy from voters. Genocide allegations. Interesting.
Like,
You know, this all could have been avoided if Contra just went like, everybody wants to make me like a Gaza video, but like I don't think I'm the right kind of person to do that, and just left it there.
Hmm.
And then-
Okay, let's watch a few
Or
more minutes.
just a bare minimum of saying,
Watch
what's happening in Gaza is bad, but no.
Let's watch a few more minutes before I need to go to bed.
Bless you.
I feel like I guess I don't see voting as like a symbolic expression of my like virtuous stance on any particular issue so much as I do like a consequentialist calculation about like what is
Me
the
too.
actual effect of this, and the
Me too.
actual effect of electing Donald Trump has been disastrous.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, sabotaging of Abdan, yeah.
It would probably play out like the Hassan Ethan debate.
Mm.
Yes, and the actual effect of voting blue no matter who means that we get more right-wing presidents every time, both on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. And the only way to curb that ratchet effect would be to say, hey, Democrats, you absolutely can get my vote. My vote is absolutely gettable. And it's not because I'm asking for some crazy demand that's going to cause you to lose 3 other votes somewhere else. It's only upside. I have a plan for you, Democrats. Here's how you win. You oppose the genocide, you call it a genocide, and you say you're going to stop funding the genocide and follow follow American law, the Leahy Law, which prohibits me from funding these war crimes to begin with, and you can win. How can you argue against that?
Because people have been making this argument my entire life. I mean, people argue
What
this
argument?
about Ralph Nader in year 2000. Like
What argument is that?
The argument that by voting third party, there's an opportunity to meaningfully shift the Democrats
but
to force
that
them
wasn't what I just said, right?
to move left.
That
Well, what
was
What I
not-
just said is, hey, I'm a Democrat.
That was not the argument just now. The argument is to leverage pressure on Democratic politicians to make it have better stances for them to win over, to them to earn the vote.
I mean, like you always just do like what the President Sunday plan was. You vote for them regardless, but you tell them you're not going to if they don't do X. Because if you tell them you're gonna vote for them regardless, they're not gonna bother pandering to any of your demands.
Mm. Yeah.
This is what I was advocating for Democrats. If you want to be me, great. But if you're a Democrat, my argument is to say, and this is what the uncommitted movement was saying, my vote is up on offer. I want to give you my vote. I want to stop Trump. I want to give you my vote. And all you have to do is do this thing, which is going to make you more popular and more electable. And the Democrats said, no, I would rather lose than incur the wrath of my AIPAC donors or whatever else is at the root of our entanglement with Israel as a country, our military base that is the state of Israel.
But in order for this blackmail,
Like so politically toxic that they have to launder their money through other PAC organizations now.
Yeah.
message to be effective, doesn't it have to be the case that third party voters are the determining factor in swinging the election, which you just said that they are not?
Not third party voters. People who decline to vote for Kamala Harris are not third party voters.
Do the protest voters have the leverage to be taking the election hostage in this way?
Well, they quite obviously did, and that's why they don't want to release, arguably, the autopsy report, right? They quite obviously did. And if that becomes... Well, okay, sure. But what's not speculation is that we know that 29% of people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, but who did vote for Biden in 2020, said that ending Israel's violence in Gaza was the reason, right? So if you're the Democrats and you have this option, a part of me wants to open one of these books and rifle through.
It doesn't really feel like a debate. Contrapoints does not really offer any pushback or argumentation.
Because I remember at some point in, I can't remember if it's Original Sin or on 107 Days. I think it's Original Sin. There was reporting, and there's been ample reporting at this point, 2 years out, that internally, Biden understood. They understood how much this issue was hurting them. And they chose to ignore it. In fact, they chose to double down on it. Right? And I don't understand, at some point, Natalie, at some point, I mean, is there anything that Democrats would do that you would say, if Donald Trump, if the 2016 version of Donald Trump were running against the 2024 Donald Trump on the Democratic ticket, would you say that we should vote for 2016 Donald Trump because his first term was better than his second term?
Okay, I mean, so I joke about how I would vote for Satan to stop Donald Trump. There probably is a line. I've yet not found it yet of what moral depth to which I would stoop to stop Donald Trump.
So what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so play that out for me. Everyone always asking me to play out my plan. Play out the consequences of vote blue no matter who, because you and others, I don't mean to put it all on you, but ask me what the timeline is. I got to this place because I started asking more centrist oriented people what the timeline is for Medicare for all. How long are we supposed to deal with the fact that 68,000 people die every year from a lack of health insurance?
Half your career, Brianna, was basically telling everybody they should have forced the vote like 10 years ago and completely tanked all like political careers. Like she came up basically her whole shtick was grifting to the Bernie or busters, essentially. To like the disillusion to the people that were Bernie or bust, and basically sucking up all the that energy and becoming a black hole for all to go die, essentially.
What's the timeline on that? And I had people come to me who were Medicare for All activists in the state of California, who were Bernie's Medicare for All czar, and their plans were minimum 20-year time horizons, saying that, well, the argument that was made to me was Gavin Newsom was going to get Medicare for all in the state of California, that he was going to become president, and that he was then going to bring Medicare for all to the entire country. Gavin Newsom doesn't even support Medicare for all anymore, obviously. Mm-hmm. And the state of California, with its overwhelmingly Democratic legislature, has intentionally scuttled their CalCare program now multiple times, including just recently. So at a certain point, I mean, let me maybe ask it this way, Natalie. How much do you think that donor influence and corporate interests are determining the policies of the Democratic Party?
Well, they certainly have some effect. I think I maybe don't think they have quite the level of effect that you do, because yes, they have some effect, but they also, like, at the end of the day, do still need to get elected, right? So I don't think there's an infinite capacity for corporate influence. Like, there's a limit to how far you can push it where people will stop supporting you.
This is kind of my point, that we saw that limit with Gaza and they didn't care, right?
Like, Democrats have tried over the years to, like, I mean, Obama came fairly like with the Affordable Care Act, they came fairly close to getting not Medicare for all, but a single payer option.
Well, Natalie,
fairly close,
but they
being shot down by Joe Lieberman.
Okay, but like, why is it, Natalie? We know how slim the Republicans' margins are right now, right?
Yeah.
And yet they managed to do everything in the world. Why is it that Barack Obama had a supermajority? When we say it was scuttled by Joe Lieberman, we're saying that he was the 60th vote in a supermajority. Yes. And why is it that it seems to be the case that Democrats are always 1 or 2 votes shy from doing the thing that 75% of the country wants them to do, but Republicans always manage to push through the thing that only 20% of the country wants them to do?
Of the week bullshit.
Yeah, it's. I wonder how Contrapoints will answer this question.
Just be go, home. What? Just how it is,
Yeah.
Every time the Democrats try to, unfuck something, there's always 3 in a totally safe, seat that suddenly gonna swap sides and cross the party line to stop whatever marginally good thing that they could have implemented.
America doesn't deserve good things, I guess.
Do you really think that, like, Nancy Pelosi, for example, didn't want single payer? Like, I think that she did.
Yes.
Like, I think that this genuinely
I don't.
You don't think that she did?
I don't think.
Nancy Pelosi does not want single payer. I'm pretty sure she mentioned somewhere that she would never let that happen.
Okay. Let's see. We're gonna watch just a few more minutes and then I'm gonna retire.
I think that Democratic leadership, Nancy Pelosi, whomever, I don't think that Democratic Party leadership wants single payer. Absolutely not.
I don't think that's supported by Nancy Pelosi's actions in 2010.
How so?
I would have to. We'd have to fact check this after the fact. But
Did
I
Nancy
think her
Pelosi
making
support
a fairly strong effort to achieve this, and eventually needing to create a compromise option in order to get Joe Lieberman on board. But I think that, look, I do think that in the future, like, Donald Trump has proved that by acting in a sort of heavy-handed authoritarian fashion, it is possible to do a bunch of stuff that's not popular. Should should the Democrats? Well, I mean, I do consider it a serious defect of the Obama administration that he was so like there was this mindset of like, oh, we need to be bipartisan and we need to constantly reach across the aisle. And like, yeah, I hate all of that. Obviously, I think a major lesson of the Obama administration was we do not go high. Don't do that. Like, and I think that I think Biden improved on that somewhat. There's
How so?
more room for still more improvement. Well, I think Biden like did a number of things that were not, would not have been doable if you needed Republican cooperation. But I think that
Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be
yeah.
contrarian. I just want to know specifically what you're thinking about.
Well, I'm thinking about like Medicaid expansion and infrastructure bill, and it was more aggressive in getting some of these things done than I think Obama was.
So
But
that
like,
he was in the
I
infrastructure.
don't know. Like Republicans don't seek democratic cooperation in a lot of the crap they're pushing, right?
No, they try to jam everything through, and like didn't they just fucking pass a bill at 2 a.m. like just this week for some stupid bullshit?
The infrastructure bill example where he had the leverage comes right from having the infrastructure projects that Republicans want, and because it was COVID and the country was shut down and everyone needed the country to get going for capitalism reasons, right? So we took all of that stuff that even Republicans wanted to vote for, bundled it with a bunch of stuff that were Democratic priorities because they were social spending priorities, and then broke those two things apart so that Republicans could get what they wanted without having to do all the Democratic. Like that was the Build Back Better bifurcation dance that even AOC called out, right? Like even AOC, there was that whole rigmarole around how they were going to hold the line and that they weren't going to vote for the one package unless both packages, and then
so
predictably,
I agree with you that
yeah,
that there's a lot of room for a Democratic administration to be even more aggressive, and I agree that they should.
So why don't they? Why aren't they? What's the because people like me are often accused as being not having
We're gonna listen to one that's point, and then we're gonna
a material analysis of thinking that we're going to win because of vibes. I feel very strongly that I'm doing the opposite. That when you just love Mamdani and love AOC, that's the vibes. I liked what they stood for and what they said, and now that they're in office, it's about asking, analyzing, and as someone who is in the media, pressing them on whether or not they're using the leverage that they have at their disposal to maximize the follow through on their campaign commitments, right? It's not about me loving them. My job is not to love Mamdani as much as he seems like a fun hang. I have nothing personal against any of these people, but I have to raise questions, right? Why does Zohran Mamdani endorse Kathy Hochul prematurely when she hasn't released fundraising, the funding to him that he needs to advance his agenda? Why does he come out and dissuade a challenger to Hakeem Jeffries when Hakeem Jeffries is one of the most vocal Zionists in the entire country? The leader of the Democratic Party bungled Democratic Party redistricting in New York in a way that cost Democrats seats in the House, and also did not support Zohran Mamdani's campaign even after he won the primary. You know, why did he say that he would vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be Speaker of the House prematurely, ostensibly without getting any concessions? If he has gotten concessions, why won't he be more forthcoming about what he was able to get with his leverage so people like me would leave him alone? Right? These are questions I think it's incumbent on us to ask because we want him to be successful on his campaign promises, not just successful in a person who has a job as mayor who wants job stability. Right? I'm not invested in his job
once a politician
stability.
gets elected, they have to engage with the reality of their situation. They need to cooperate with other people to achieve things. Right?
Cooperate with who?
I don't think an elected politician cannot base all of their behavior around winning the recognition from people who are protest voters and probably didn't support them in the first place.
Did you? What did I? Can you steel man back to me what I wanted Zohran Mamdani to do with Kathy Hochul and why?
Granted, it's still one of the largest cities in America, but he's still just a fucking mayor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I can't. No.
Okay, so I want to be really clear about this. I'll repeat it. I'm not just wanting him to run around saying I'm the biggest Marxist ever, beating his chest and saying free Palestine. That's not my argument. My argument is that
what's your
I'm the
argument?
he
biggest
fought for
Marxist.
free buses, free childcare, a number of
Right.
policy priorities that were going to require funding from Albany, right, from the governor of the state. So when I raised concerns about him endorsing Kathy Hochul in her reelection bid during an election season, when there was her own lieutenant governor was challenging her, a lieutenant governor who came out and endorsed Zohran Mamdani early and who supported Zohran Mamdani's funding when Kathy Hochul was saying she did not agree with his funding priorities. I see that as Zohran Mamdani prematurely giving up leverage for something that he says he wants, which is free buses. I'm with Zohran Mamdani. Let's get those free buses. But how are you going to get them when the governor of your state is saying that she doesn't believe in your policy agenda, and frankly also wouldn't even endorse you after you won your primary against an actual predator of Andrew Cuomo, right?
Yes.
So I feel like my ask is extremely pragmatic. How are you using your leverage to get money to do the thing that you say you want to do in New York?
I mean, that may.
That's
So
so
I don't know the details of this particular situation. That may be a
Sorry?
Yeah, like of course he's gonna try to play nice. Like what the fuck? It's like, oh, he hates you, so
Yeah.
it's like, like why aren't you like calling like Kathy Hochul, like Mr. Mandami, why aren't you calling
Okay.
her a fucking bitch or something? It's like, yeah, because he still needs her to get the funding for the bullshit. So what the fuck's he supposed to do if he calls her a bitch and pisses her off? Then what?
I feel like we're gonna end it here. There
He
was
already did like that whole thing about how like, yeah, here's my budget proposal. Calls in your court now. Maybe I'll endorse you. To be governor again. He knows what the fuck he's doing.
yeah. And with this nice sentiment, we're gonna end it here. Okay. I'm gonna raid the stream into someone worthy who will definitely raid me back, just like some
I don't know
people
if
used
the
to.
storks can rate you back, Lucy.
Oh, the storks? You want the storks? Riverboat Jack is streaming. Shall we raid Riverboat Jack so that we might be raided by Riverboat Jack one day?
Maybe one day, and then like all
Okay.
she'll rate you back, and then her entire audience will immediately jump ship right afterwards.
It's okay.
It happens every time. Everybody fucks off with rates.
See you all. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Which is today. Bye bye.